Rock and roll wouldn't be what it is today without MTV. Before the rise of Napster and YouTube, MTV was where you discovered music and learned about what was going on with your favorite artist. There was something for everyone with shows like Headbangers Ball and MTV Raps, 120 Minutes, and Club MTV. It also had shows like Remote Control, Singled Out, and Beavis and Butthead. On today's episode of Prisoners in Rock and Roll, we're talking about the golden years of MTV, the VJs, the I Want My MTV commercials, iconic music videos, some music videos that were banned, and the television shows. We're also going to explore what the heck happened to the network and ask if music videos are still relevant anymore. So grab your remote control and settle down, Beavis.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
Wubba, wubba, wubba. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Prisoners of Rock and Roll, episode number 18. I am Bruce Kramer, and I'm joined this evening by my illustrious co-host, Mr. Ryan McCusker and Mr. Doug McCusker.
What's up, buddy? Are you rocking out there?
Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by McCusker's Tavern at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia, and we are proud members of the Pantheon Podcast Network. So tonight's show is about MTV. Ryan, this was I believe this was your suggestion. This was a great idea.
I want my MTV.
Man,
that's what got to be like one of the biggest catchphrases of the 80s, like definitely the 80s at the beginning of
Yeah,
MTV.
I mean, it was definitely like a catchphrase like, where's the beef?
Sure.
Yeah, it was, you're a child of the 80s or the 90s, man. I don't know how many days I spent on my summer vacations from school. I would sit and watch MTV for hours. I'd get up in the morning and that was my routine before I started my day.
Yeah, like even like on sick days or just like three day holidays. It was always just glued to MTV. They always had something going on.
They always just play like with everything. Like you said during the summer, you just sat around and just watched MTV. One summer I woke up early in the morning and I went down and put on the MTV and this video came on from Right Said Fred called I'm Too Sexy. And I was probably about like 14 years old. I was like, this is never going to catch on. And look what happened, you know.
It's a huge iconic thing.
Yeah. And I there's probably a lot of videos, man, that like,
God,
I know the songs from the video. Like
Sure.
I'm thinking of Naughty by Nature. You know, the Hip Hop Hooray. Like,
Yeah.
I know that like I can, when I'm saying that, I can still, I see Tretch in the winter coat doing the arms up and.
yeah, everybody's
I think
going back and forth, waving their hands back and forth.
Yeah. It was like,
Yeah.
I associate it with the video, not hearing it on the radio.
It was such a big tool for these artists, you know.
I think it was such a huge thing for a generation to have video with music. You know, you couldn't have in the 70s, you know, the bands in the 80s. Like, you know, you ever see the guys from Mario Speedwagon? They should not be in videos. Or the guys in Foreigner, they shouldn't be in videos, but you know.
And we talked about that a lot, like in the Shock Rock episode around the visual aspect. Like music has always had like kind of a visual component to it. And this just kind of took it to a whole nother level for like 20 years. Just really cool.
It's like, it's hard enough to grow up to learn an instrument, and now you got to dance with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Do what, you know, whatever this jerk off tells you to do.
I guess maybe before we start diving into it, I was doing a little bit of research, like where, like, was this kind of a new thing when MTV started? And so like the music videos were kind of around for a long time. They said like Cab Calloway in like the 20s,
Sure.
they would make like these little film shorts and release them to like movie theaters and stuff like that. Like, kind of how they used to do like newsreel kind of things, like
Sure.
around during the war and stuff like that.
Like you would say like old videos like for like Kiss and Makeup. Like they had a video for I Was Made for Loving You, and that song came out like in the 70s. So they were definitely making some kind of videos.
The Beatles had a bunch of videos too.
Yeah.
Like instead of playing like Ed Sullivan, they would make a video and send it to Ed Sullivan.
Yeah, I think they were kind of like the first ones commercially because they said we can't go tour and do all these events, so we'll make a video and you can play it. And they kind of were the first ones to embrace TV. Even if you think about it a little bit, man, like old, like Looney Tunes cartoons or like music videos, like they're all, like my classic music education came from watching Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Sure. I always got a kick out of Tom and Jerry. All their movements are sound of the fiddle or sound of the harp.
Right.
It's really
right. Or like
wild.
cymbals when they're beating each other over the head.
Horns. Yeah.
And then I found something that Tony Bennett actually claims that he made the first music video. So in 1956, American Bandstand played a video of him just walking through Hyde Park in London while one of his songs was playing behind it. And now he's been like, see, I was the first one to do it. But I think the Beatles were really kind of like considered the beginning. Tony Bennett can complain all he wants.
So was like Strawberry Fields, was that a video made?
Yeah.
For like, you know, like what you said, for Ed Sullivan?
Yeah.
So Strawberry Fields, that was an actual video.
Yeah, they made like, You Say Goodbye, I Say Hello. There was a shitload of songs that they made videos for.
And then you got Dylan in doing the video for Subterranean Homesick Blues, the one where he's got the index cards, which is actually was shot by the same guy that made the Monterey Film Festival video. Yeah.
Wow.
Pennybaker, D.A. Pennybaker. Thought that was interesting.
Wow.
I didn't realize that song was from 65, so that's even earlier.
And then NXS did it like later in the 80s.
Yes,
they did,
yes, with for Mediate. Yeah.
It's hard to come up with fresh ideas all the time.
Yeah, but I think they were paying homage to it. It was new to like a whole new generation when they did it,
Sure.
And then you had like Queen, like there was a video for Bohemian Rhapsody, but they called it like a promotional video. It was like the one of like all their foreheads are kind of
the classic.
Yeah, and it blurs
Bohemian
out
Rhapsody.
and it's and that's also before the heyday of MTV and everything else.
Before videos, you would also have American Bandstand, and a lot of these bands would get up on Bandstand and lip sync and everything, before there was MTV.
Yeah, Bandstand would be another cool show to do. We'll have to put that on our list.
That would be a cool show.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
The kind of the heyday of live TV kind of stuff. And then I was MTV, so that started 1981 at midnight on Saturday in August. And that clip that we played after our intro, that was what they played. They played a countdown of a space shuttle. And then they show Neil Armstrong getting on the moon, and he plants the iconic flag that says MTV on it. And he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll." They actually wanted to play the One Small Step for Man, and they were afraid they were going to get sued by Neil Armstrong.
We know all about that.
Yeah.
We shave things off here and there and make it legal.
Yeah. Right.
But originally they used it because all that footage was public domain. So they knew they can get away with it up until that part,
Yeah. And then I guess they stopped using the space shuttle after the Challenger disaster.
Really?
Is that when
they stopped using that as a thing because it was
no way. But they kept on having the Moon Men.
The Moon Men, right.
Yeah.
It was iconic,
Yeah.
And they still give out the Moon Men today for these
the video awards
that for a channel doesn't show videos anymore. Yeah. But before MTV, wasn't there a show called like the Butterfly Network and that was started by Mike Nesmith?
Yeah.
Is that
the same
right?
guy? Yeah. Yeah. It was like an early precursor.
Yeah.
And then he started with MTV, and I didn't realize that MTV when it started it was really only available in New Jersey. It wasn't like you couldn't get it across the country. It was a very local to us thing.
Actually, in South Philadelphia was a testing ground for cable TV. So in 1981, we had MTV right away. I remember those first broadcasts of MTV because I lived on the right side of Broad Street,
Huh.
We got MTV and Flyers games.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But that's where they came up with the thing, like call your cable company and tell them you want your MTV. That was like a big promotion.
Yeah.
And they got everybody signed where they get the Police, they got like
Jagger, Bowie.
Yeah. Cyndi Lauper.
And those, I guess when you think about the grand scheme of things of MTV, if I go to my kids and I say MTV, what they think of is going to be, they might even know what MTV is. They're going to think of something completely different than somebody our age would think of.
If anything, they think Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. This is definitely a back in my day episode as we're doing the notes. I just felt like this crotchety old, like, damn it, back when I was young, like.
Back in 1981.
Right. And we can get into the experience of watching music videos now, but, and I guess the initial thing when they started making these videos, like at the beginning, there was no, rhyme or reason. There was no pattern. Like if you had a music video and MTV would play it, there wasn't like we're going to play a block of rock music because nobody made music videos.
Yeah.
So they played whatever. Like we talked about that, in our Christmas episode, like why the Bowie Bing Crosby song got so popular because it was like the only music video that anybody had to play on the air.
I was watching a documentary on MTV and Tom Petty was on it. And he said, like, you know, when this thing first started, I sat myself in front of the TV and I'm waiting for the show to end because he thought it was like a video show. So the next thing you know, it's 4 hours go by and he's still watching this show and he's like, when is the show going to end? He didn't realize that it was a continuation of just music videos.
And there's some cool, you can find video clips on YouTube of like the music. It's just the VJs, like all the music. Like it was like, here's the first 3 hours of MTV with all the videos cut out and it's just the VJs talking and it's pretty rough. I mean, they don't know what they're doing yet.
I watched.
It's cool though.
Yeah, it was JJ. Who was the first guy?
Yeah, I wrote the names down of the initial VJs. There was like 5 of them, right? Martha Quinn, Mark Goodman, Alan Hunter, JJ Jackson.
Yeah.
And Nina Blackwood.
Mark was like the first one on.
Yeah.
He was like, hello, welcome to MTV.
Yeah. We'll be doing this for as long as you want. It's not like he's got the really bad, it's just so dated looking.
No, I mean, it was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Live, like, you know, you're live and you're trying to push something that nobody's ever pushed before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only had like a certain amount of videos. They only had like maybe 12 videos that they just put on a loop.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole day.
Yeah. And I heard that, if you watched it at a certain time, the screen would go blank because somebody worked in the theater. They were actually, in the station, they were actually changing VCR tapes. So the network would go off the air for a couple seconds as they were changing the tapes with the videos on it. I mean, we should play the first song that they ever played, right? So,
the Bungles, right?
Yeah. The Buggles.
The Buggles.
I couldn't, do you know 2 songs by the Buggles?
I know this song.
I know this one. I don't know another one. Video Killed the Radio Star. Not a great song.
I think that song's iconic.
Definitely.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a trivia question right there.
Yeah. But just the song itself is so fitting. Like, and they made it that way, you know. But what was the second song? Was it like Pat Benatar?
No, it was The Who.
Was it The Who?
Was it?
The second song, I believe, was The Who. You better. I
Really?
believe that was number 2, or it was, I watched it this week, or it was.
I got it. Video Killed the Radio Star. You Better Run by Pat Benatar. She Won't Dance With Me by Rod Stewart. Then You Better You Bet by The Who.
Nice.
Oh.
So The Who was in there early.
This goes down. I just found an article that's got the first 210. I don't know. It ends at 209 songs. I don't know why they're going to 209. Some of these people I don't even know. Little Susie's On the Up. PhD. Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Remember Todd Rundgren? There's a lot. There's stuff on here. I have no idea. Iron Maiden.
Oh, Maiden made it.
Maiden was number 16.
Wow.
First heavy metal song ever played on MTV. Iron Maiden.
Nice.
There you go.
This sounded pretty diverse in the beginning.
Okay.
So it's funny that Iron Maiden makes it like in the first day of MTV, and then like you skip like 10 years later. And you have to wait till midnight to see like Maiden on MTV.
I think, you know, some of those videos are worth to talk about. Like the original videos, they're like really like art projects. Sure. They're almost like, you almost look like Andy Warhol videos. Like it's very like, cheaply made. Like not cheaply made, but the videotape is worth the while of the money. But like how the sets are, they're really cheaply made and people are dancing.
Like as you say, like I think of the Judas Priest video. Listen, After Midnight, that video, it's like they were standing like behind this backdrop and they were like, it looks like a road going into the background. It's really cheesy anyway.
No, I think a lot of those early videos are cheesy.
Or the whole medium is relatively new. I mean, yeah, we talked about it's been around since the 1920s, but this idea of we're going to make a video for a song to put on this network was still kind of like a novel idea. And I mean, you know, my kids watch movies from the 80s now and they're like, you know, oh my God, the special effects are, my kids watch movies that are 10 years old and they think the special effects stink. So,
it's like, oh, look at that iceberg. That looks horrible.
Yeah. We were watching like Lord of the Rings and we're like, this is cheesy. I'm like, are you out of your mind?
Send
like,
those kids to bed without dinner.
Seriously. But yeah, and some of these early things, and that's a great point. Like this really, really first generation of videos are kind of cheesy, but they're art projects.
Yeah, but like they make no point. There's no point to these videos at all.
Like I said, there was like a lot of dancing choreography. You know, every choreographer, is that how you say it? Like every dance, like everybody got a job when the videos started coming around. Like, all right, you know, that's how Paula Abdul got her start. You know, and
Yeah.
like these choreographers, they're like, you know, their job, like they were in high demand after that for bands, I guess.
The one song that I put on where it all changes, and I didn't realize it was only 1 year after MTV comes out, is Thriller. And that was
Wow.
that was 1982. So I guess I struggled in my head of thinking like, really, that's it? Like, so it's so new. And then comes out and dropped. Let me look that up and make sure that's right. Cause that's like, I mean, that was the video that changed everything, right?
Yeah. He was the first black guy on MTV.
He was.
Yeah. Maybe we get into that a little bit.
So Michael Jackson was there since the beginning then, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, he made videos. Like you see those videos from like Off the Wall.
Yeah.
You Rock With Me.
Yeah. And that's definitely cheesy. That's like
Yeah.
that 70s kind of feel.
Thriller came out in 83. I'm sorry, not 82. So
That's
it's still
It's
2 years.
groundbreaking.
Yeah. It's still 2 years later.
But then you look at like Beat It. Beat It was such an iconic video, and that was out before Thriller, right?
I think all his videos were Beat It, Billie Jean. Billie Jean on it, so that was just a controversial song to begin with. And the video, here's Michael prowling around like the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty odd.
But it was like, you know, that's still, that video is still iconic. Like he's walking and the sidewalk lights up and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first thing I think of when I hear that,
Yeah.
when I hear that song. And I mean, in the Thriller video, I mean, I remember like my parents recording that on a VHS tape, and it scared the shit out of me because I was only like 9 years old when it came out, especially the extended, like the 12-minute version.
Yeah.
Well, they would show that, and then they would show the making of the Thriller video.
Yes.
Which was always awesome.
And John Landis did that, didn't he? Did John Landis make
He
that
made the video
Did he?
with Thriller.
Yeah,
Did
he
he?
made the Thriller
Did he?
video, yeah.
And,
He's a weird dude.
Vincent
Yeah.
Price
Yeah.
doing the voiceover.
Why don't you play Thriller?
All right. Yeah, man, let's
Get
do
a
it.
visual in your head.
All right.
It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. Under the moonlight.
I just see him walking behind that girl, like, you know, doing all like the Frankenstein walks and just trying to scare her. What a fucking great video that was.
If you had to think of like one artist that grew with MTV, it's definitely Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson used MTV just as much as MTV used Michael Jackson. You know, his videos were always big, like premiering this week, you know, this, you know, is the new Michael Jackson video. And that's every album up until pretty much his death.
Yeah. We
You know?
talked about that, that when we did the 1991 episode, we talked about that video for Black or White.
Yeah.
You know, that was like a big, and that wasn't necessarily on MTV, or the video Scream, the song he did with Janet. That was like a huge deal when that, like they were like the release of his videos were like events.
But like Michael Jackson made these over the top videos because he was already like a megastar because of the Jackson 5, and like he's been a celebrity his whole entire life. So he can afford to raise the bar for these videos.
I think he had a vision.
Absolutely.
And it didn't stop at the music.
No, absolutely. I heard a story about like him in the studio, and like he was trying to explain like a composition in his head, and he would dance to it. Like he would already know the dance moves of how he would want the music to go.
How he like wanted to sway.
Yeah.
He wanted to, you know, yay, I get it.
Would he be as popular as he is now if it wasn't for MTV?
I was going to ask the same
knows?
question.
Is that like part of it?
Who knows?
I think it's
I don't think any of these bands would be anything.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we've talked about ZZ Top and Tom Petty, all these bands that just, you know, churned out all these videos that maybe they wouldn't have been, you know, they used MTV, like you said, Doug. They used MTV as much as MTV used them. Yeah.
But that's a good question. I would say probably not, but that's a world that we would never know. It's like a bizarro world.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't want to think of a world without music videos.
No.
And I guess the next thing to talk about, like the I Want My MTV things, is like, again, the
What
early
a promotion.
80s.
That was
It's brilliant.
huge. I was just watching a few of them, and you had like the Police, you had like Weird Al Yankovic. They all do their little shtick and say, I want my MTV.
Yeah. I watched a bunch of them too after you mentioned that. And then, I was reading an interview with Mark Knopfler from, Dire Straits, and he said he saw the Police do one of those. He was like, the words "I Want My MTV," that would sound really cool over a song that sounded a lot like "Don't Stand So Close to Me" by the Police. And that's where he wrote
Oh, really?
Money for Nothing. And that's why Sting is in the beginning
Yeah,
going,
he's saying, "I want my
Yeah, my
MTV."
MTV. We should play a little bit of that?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Look at them yo-yos, that's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working, that's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free.
Remember how in the video it was like really cheesy animated computer, like
Yeah.
animatron computer? It was crazy.
But that was like so ground. Nobody did. Like I said, how Michael Jackson raised the bar. That video raised the bar for a lot.
yeah, it
of
was
people.
half animated, half live. Yeah,
and
Yeah,
that
when-
was all groundbreaking, like new technology.
it was
Yeah.
huge.
I think when I think of that early era of MTV, that's the video I think of. Like Thriller's almost its own
It's
thing.
its own thing.
I mean,
It's
that's a movie. That's a
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
But this video, yeah, the computer animation and the cuts were like, they're wearing the neon, like headbands
Yeah.
and everything. And he's singing about MTV. I just tie it right to it.
Yeah, he's singing about all the lame ass dudes on MTV. Now they're rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's kind of making fun of everybody too.
Yeah.
Now you saying that, what is your first memory of a video as a kid on MTV?
It might be that song.
Really?
Yeah. And maybe it's just because the animation is so cheesy. I also might remember my parent. I don't remember when this came out, but my parents playing my dad had he VHS taped like the Call Me Al, the Paul Simon and Chevy
Yeah.
Chase video.
That's our father's favorite video.
My
of all
dad
time.
loved that album. And I just remember him playing that all the time. And that song was probably a lot later, but
Me and Ryan probably had the same memories growing up from first video. What's your first video to remember seeing?
I don't know. It's got to be like between Pat Benatar and Tom Petty. And,
Yeah, and the Go-Go's probably.
yeah, I mean, I totally remember watching Thriller and Beat It, and I remember watching all those classic MTV videos.
Yeah.
All the John Mellencamp videos, all those one-hit wonder videos like Aha.
that is probably one of my favorite music video songs ever.
Yeah, I mean, we were at the Rock and Roll of Fame, and they had still frames from the cartoon.
The sketchbook?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
They
cool.
had like the actual cartoon still frame from it. It was rad.
Yeah, they have in their attic, the Rock and Roll of Fame attic is what they call it, is where they have their exhibits of the month or next month. So that month was MTV. So they had that, and they had Tom Petty's top hat.
the hat from the
Don't come around here no more.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was super cool to see.
I think Take On that song might be my favorite music video of,
Take On
of
Me.
all time. Yeah. I like the song a lot. I think it still kind of holds up. I think the video still, I watch it. It still kind of invokes an emotion in me. Like the
Yeah.
girls watching them, and
It's a great song.
just really,
It's a
it's just
great
great.
song.
Play the song and see if we can get a visual in your head. For
Okay.
it. Like I automatically think of the video.
I do too.
Right when I hear the song.
Say it anyway. Today is another day to find you shying away. Oh, I've been coming for your love, okay? Take on me. Take on me. Take me on. Take on me. I'll be gone.
God, I think of the video. Like, I cannot not picture the video in my head. Would this song be a huge hit like it was if it wasn't for the video?
I don't know. I was going to say, like, this song's great. You listen to what was going on at that time, like NXS was kind of coming out at that time, and this song's really good. Even though it's covered like crazy. I know we talked about the Weezer cover this week, and what was that ska band? Real Big Fish, they covered it for the basketball
I forgot
movie.
about that.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
actually a really good cover. But
That's how fucking big it was.
yeah, the song is it's a great song.
Yeah.
You go down to Wildwood, you walk into one of the clubs, they're going to be playing, a band's going to be playing it, a DJ's going to be playing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we were
If they can hit the vocals.
this week. We were sharing the some videos back and forth. I had stumbled across the Weezer cover of it, and the video was almost like an exact replica.
See,
of
that's
it.
what bothers me about them. They don't stretch it out at all.
Yeah.
They just fucking stick to the plan. They might as well be a cover band.
Well, they are. Like, we talk, we all talked about it this week. And I think they evolved into that, in the last couple of years, maybe when they did that Muppet video, but they adopted that, which is lame.
Their videos were always awesome, though. I can't. I mean, the Happy Days
Yeah.
thing was iconic.
Yeah. So they're like, would Weezer be as big without MTV?
Without
Probably
a visual
not.
thing, probably not.
not.
Yeah. I mean, they had a handful of good songs, but in general,
Yeah.
I don't know.
This Take on Me video to me is just, it's in a whole nother level of like top tier.
Sure.
Just there was a handful of videos I just wrote down off the top of my head, and they were on that list. It's just an amazing piece of work.
How many artists do you think were coming out with videos like that month that was coming out? And they're like, oh man, our video.
We gotta
sucks
make
next
it.
to this
Oh, yeah,
one.
right,
Like,
right.
Oh, we got to make a video with a cartoon in it.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to out-top each other.
Yeah. And then I guess as MTV kind of moves along, like Viacom buys them out in like the mid 80s, and then they start like, the business people get involved. And we talked about this with Monterey as well, that a lot of the music of Monterey was all over the place with like genres. And then the suits came in and were like, well, no, we got to put it in a box to sell it. And that's kind of what MTV does. But they come out, they're like, well, you can't just have this shit like all over the place. You got to be like, okay, this one show is going to promote rap music to these people, because then they can go to advertisers and go, hey, you want to sell your
Like
starter jacket or whatever. Here's your, like, as a marketing guy, it makes sense.
Yeah. And that's where, like, they start losing their, they become more marketable, like marketing and like with the money and everything like that, because of the, well, who's watching this? Well, kids are drinking. Well, who drinks Coca-Cola? Well, kids drink Coca-Cola.
What was the fucked up part about it? They were aiming it towards white people.
Yeah.
They were not aiming it towards black people at all. I forget who came out and said it, and they were like, what the fuck? Our culture's beautiful as much as they are.
It's probably Chuck D or somebody like that.
Something was it, and that's how they came up with MTV Raps.
In the beginning of MTV, I think Michael Jackson was the only black artist on MTV for the longest time.
Yeah, and Lionel Richie came along.
That's true about Lionel Richie.
They were all like squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And then fucking Eazy-E came in and said, what's up?
And then a couple of years after that, MTV starts branching out into some other kind of stuff. So it was like, MTV News and Remote Control and Club MTV. And, I think we said in the outline, we're going to talk about all the shows and stuff on the second end of the show, but that's where all that happened. But I think also where they got in front of themselves. And I read this somewhere and it started really making sense to me, was like when Clinton ran for office, because Bill Clinton was all over
He was
MTV.
smart, man.
Rock the Vote.
And it was like Rock the Vote started, and then he wins. And they at the time they were like, well, a big part of him winning was because young people got behind him.
Definitely.
I remember when that was going down, and George H.W., they asked him, like, will you be on Rock the Vote? Or, choose or lose or whatever they called it. And he just kind of looked at his buddy standing next to him, like laughing.
what the fuck's that?
What's that? He's like, I'm not much of an MTV kind of guy. And I remember that kind of like them showing that. And I was one of them. Bill Clinton was the first president I voted for. Because I was like 18.
The first one we're old enough.
Yeah. And that really, MTV made that, they persuaded your way. Cause he was a young guy. He was very charismatic. He looked good in the camera. Then you have George.
Right. He played the saxophone.
And
whatever.
let's not forget that he did it in Hale.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't inhale.
I remember him playing the saxophone in Arsenio Hall.
Yeah.
But I guess like he gets elected and MTV thinks maybe they had something to do with this. And they're like, dude, you think we're going to go back to playing winger videos? No, man. We had a political impact on the country.
But what was funny about that, George got wind of that and he felt that him getting criticized and they saw he was losing the vote. So then he did a interview with MTV on the back of the train, like one of the presidential trains.
I do remember,
you remember that.
I do remember that.
And he's like, well, I didn't
He's like,
think
you
that.
think you're losing the young vote? He's like, no.
Yeah.
Right. But that's
And
also
Clinton's
what, like,
out there high five and everybody. He's slam dunking like basketballs.
the back of the train, that's like Teddy Roosevelt.
But do you
campaigned
remember that?
way.
I remember that clearly.
When you said that, I do remember
that
that.
clearly.
Bush was just so out of touch with the with himself.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
He lost he lost his presidency due to MTV.
Yeah, and MTV had a huge part of that. And then I guess as you get into the 90s, MTV starts moving away from all the music content. And
Yeah.
the music industry in general gets like super poppy the second half of the 90s, other than like new metal and all other crap. But you know, like now it's all.
Well, you skipped over like all the hairband stuff, like in the 80s.
Oh, let's talk about it. Yeah,
you know?
okay. I was just talking about like kind of, I was trying to plot their kind of descent into, irrelevancy, but yeah, man, I mean, the rise of hair bands, the hairband video was a huge part of it.
Sure. And I think that's what made me fall in love with, because they had like attractive women on the videos and everything like that, you know?
I think that whole time was like it. Like, yeah, you had the hairband videos, but you had Run DMC on at the same time.
Yeah.
Doing their thing, with Aerosmith, or just doing their regular thing, King of Rock.
Sure.
You know?
And they were like, you know, they were definitely like rock infused, like hip hop band, you know? And like, I kind of don't want to like skip over the whole MTV Raps thing, because that was so important. You know what I mean?
Hip hop. It was the only thing that would show hip hop.
Yeah.
But they would only show it for a couple hours a day.
Right, but Yo MTV Raps came on probably around about 4 o'clock, like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and like during the week, Monday through Monday through Friday.
It first started on the weekends, on Saturday, with Fab Five Freddy.
Okay,
that's what started MTV Raps, and then they were like getting such a good feedback from it. They're like, "We got to do this every day."
Yeah, it's a huge show.
We got to make this every day.
Like, you know, like would the Fresh Prince have a career without MTV? Will Smith, you know, that was his jump off point from his career to the top of the mountain, I guess, you know?
I'm sitting here trying to think like, that was probably my exposure to hip hop, my first exposure to it.
That was middle America, white middle America exposure to hip hop, you know?
Play It Takes Two.
This is a good song.
Like, I love the hairband shit.
Yeah.
But then on the next thing, it's like, here's this.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at a CYO dance when I just was listening to that song.
I mean, but
like,
that was the theme to Yo MTV Raps.
And even with that show, like Ed Lover and
Dr. Dre.
The original Dr. Dre.
Right.
It's not the original Dr. Dre.
Yeah. But like on sort of the world of, well, whatever.
Right. Now he's the other Dr.
He's
Dre.
now he's
Other Dr. Dre.
Now he's like, oh, there was another Dr. Dre?
Right.
But like those guys worked great together. They were a great comedy duo. You know?
Yeah, they were funny. They were just really engaging, and yeah, that maybe culturally that might have been the most important show to come out of MTV.
It was so funny. They were so funny together. There was an episode when they went to Mike Tyson's house.
Oh, really?
And like you couldn't like they were like really trying to like record something, but it was coming out like Spinal Tap. But you could. It was like, holy shit, you can't make this up. Like they were like breaking shit in Mike Tyson's house, and Mike Tyson's getting pissed off, and he like punches one of them in the gut.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, and it looks like they're like acting. He's like, no, that motherfucker punched me in this. He hit me hard.
But like, as funny as that show was, dude, they had a lot of like serious moments on that show. Also,
No, I
like,
mean that was the first time Brenda's Got a Baby was on that. You know, and then and they had NWA on there, Tone Loc, Slick Rick,
right?
LL Cool J.
Yeah, LL Cool J. He was like one in the beginning. As much as I don't think he belongs in Rock and Roll Fame,
He's getting an honorary.
He's getting an honorary.
That's how good he is.
That late '80s, early '90s hip hop was kind of just brought out to everybody through MTV Raps.
I love. Maybe it's because I was younger and everything's better when you're younger. But man, that was such a great outlet of music. Like anybody could dance to it. Anybody could listen to it. Or anybody could rhyme, anybody could rap, to the poor kid that can't afford anything and just have a ghetto blaster. And that's his instrument.
Sure. But then that show got exploited. Then you get bands like Your Boy's Third Base, and like, Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
And all this other kind of junk getting in there,
I think they had more street credit than they had like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Well, in that business, like the street credit is what got you there. You know what I mean? Like that's how you had the street credit.
Yeah, but how fucked up is it? Here you guys got some serious, like LL Cool J is like really serious. You got Run DMC that's really serious. And then here comes the fucking Beastie Boys.
I don't know. We talked about the beat. Like I think
here's
back in the early 80s, I agree with you.
Here's like a
joke.
Here's like a kind of music trying to overcome everything. And here's three white guys come to it and they're all over MTV right away. Right away.
Yeah, but they had the street credit though.
Not as a rap band, as a fucking punk band.
Yeah.
But nobody knew who the hell they were. But they were three white kids rapping when they had a shitload of other acts that were rapping that were black dudes, or black women.
I never thought of that, of like the the white people just kind of come over the top and become the star, like the hip hop stars of music. I had never thought of that, and that's because I'm a middle class white dude.
I'm from the
New
streets.
Jersey.
I'm from the streets.
Well, you were there once, Bruce.
I could tell from all the gold chains you're wearing tonight. So the way you got up and were just dancing when It Takes Two came on was just.
But yeah, like again, that got exploited after a while, and
well, everything.
Record companies came in, and
but look where it went really fast. You went from Run DMC to Aerosmith to Snoop Dogg.
Sure.
What Snoop Dogg came out in 92, 93?
Yeah.
I mean, that was huge iconic. That was huge. Yeah. He changed rap music.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg, Dre, those guys all come out, and the I mean, we're talking about hip hop videos. I mean, some of the biggest like the two that I mentioned in my list, my notes were like in the 90s were like Hypnotize by Biggie and California Love. I mean, those were huge videos. They were also like productions, like yachts and
it was huge. Play some of that bling bling stuff.
Right, hang on, I'll get some.
Come on. Hot, sicker than your average. Papa twist cabbage off instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink gators, my Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right, if the head right, Biggie there, air night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruce, cruise who? Do something to us. Talk goes through us. Girls want to us, wanna do us, screw us. Who us? Yeah, Papa and Pump. Close like Starsky and Hutch. Stick to clutch. Yeah, I squeeze three at your cherry M.
Now, in my opinion, there's no better rappers than Biggie and Tupac. They were like the Stones and the Beatles. MTV, if anything, exploited the East Coast, West Coast rivalry.
They absolutely
like,
did.
They should charge them with murder.
Sure. They got everybody all fucking crazy.
They absolutely did. And these two dudes died because of that. And it's so fucking stupid.
No, they were buying into it too.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But Tupac more than Biggie, but yeah.
And Pac, there's like, somebody gave an interview, like these guys together, he's all talking this and talking that, and they happened to just cross paths one day when this is all going on. It's like, man, I'm just trying to make money.
I think Pac was just more a method actor.
Yeah.
And he got caught up in his own shit.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Yeah. You gotta play Pac now.
Besides that video, I love that song.
I
listen to that song all the time.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to get into the big conversation about hip hop, but it was like, even just listening to the two of those, I mean, like East Coast hip hop in the late 90s and West Coast, like they did have very different sounds.
Oh, completely two different sides of the spectrum.
This stuff, the California stuff's like just smoother. I mean, you think of like Snoop Dogg and,
I prefer West Coast rap over East Coast, even though we're from the East Coast. Dude, I do.
East Coast in the house.
Yeah, I think that's it depends on my mood.
Yeah. I'm
East
more
Coast
laid back
is where the
kind of guy.
party's at.
I'm kind of more laid back these days.
I know like Wu-Tang never got tied up in all that, but they're definitely
they're
in East
their own
Coast.
thing.
They're in East Coast.
Yeah, Jay-Z never got caught up in it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, those guys made a lot of money off that feud also. They sold more albums because of that feud, because of the East Coast versus West Coast kind of thing. You know?
Just not them, their entourages.
The record
Yeah.
companies.
Like, you know, like the Doghouse CDs, the
Junior Mafia, all their cronies and flunkies and all their
Yeah.
spin-offs and all that other stuff.
it was a mess. It was a big fucking mess.
But Death Row had a big part to do with, you know, just in hip hop in the 90s. They were it. You know, they were the
You ever heard the story that Suge Knight almost threw Vanilla Ice out of a
Yeah,
window?
yeah.
He grabbed him and held, like, Suge Knight was what, like 6'6", like 300 something pounds, and he grabbed Vanilla Ice and like held him out a window of a hotel
because he wanted, because
because
the story was that one of his buddies was the DJ that he wrote that song, and that was his hook and everything like that. And then Ice wasn't going to pay him, and he's like, okay, well, let's go up there. And he got him to sign it, you know.
Yeah, you hang them off the
Oh,
balcony.
like the hook, like check out the hook when my DJ
Yeah.
revolves it, except
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, check out the hook while I'm the DJ.
He got paid though.
Oh, shit.
Suge had results. He made results.
Yes. Well, he's
He's a
Piece of
fucking
shit.
murderer.
Is he the piece of
I
shit of
think
the week?
he's
Yeah.
the shit bag of the week,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
prison.
He's
Again.
never getting out.
Yeah.
He's never getting
No,
out.
he's not. So.
He killed Tupac ultimately
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people believe
yeah. Like
for record
the
sales.
push
Yeah.
behind
you know,
it.
and he, you know, Tupac wanted to leave Death Row, and
Yeah, because Dre already
this is a
left.
whole other episode. We
Yeah.
could get into this.
yeah.
You know,
This
we're-
is, again, how diverse we are, that we're going completely off the cuff and just talking about
East Coast, West Coast.
90s hip hop music. So,
So back to MTV.
yeah. Okay. Well, you know, we're talking about Yo MTV Raps. I guess the other show, man, that was like the niche was Headbangers Ball.
Yeah. I look forward to Headbangers Ball every Saturday night.
You stayed up late.
It was the only time you would see this kind of music.
Ricky Rackman.
Well,
right?
the original guy was Dee Snider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the original VJ.
Yeah.
Then Adam Curry was the VJ. And then Ricky Rackman was the next
Yeah.
VJ after that.
But they wouldn't. We were talking about it earlier before the show started. Like they wouldn't pay Dee Snider, right?
No, that's why he was like, I'm out.
Yeah, because he's already like a superstar. You know,
On
when
MTV,
on
yeah.
MTV, and he's doing the show. And then like between that, then they had like downtown Julie Brown like hosting here and there.
Wubba, wubba, wubba.
And
Yeah.
they might have somebody else, but then Adam Curry got it, and he got made fun of a lot. He didn't really fit
Well,
the
he was
show.
like the hairband VJ.
Yeah.
He became
He
that,
was like a
though.
model.
Yeah, he became that. Like after because
He-
of
he had
Headbangers
long
Ball.
hair.
And
He
that's
had
why I got
Bon
the
Jovi
gig.
hair,
And that's
so-
why I got the gig.
See, that's why he had Bon Jovi hair.
Yeah.
Headbangers Ball was the only time, you know, you'd say earlier, Maiden was in the first bunch of videos
played.
that were played. You know, when I remember MTV mostly, you would never see Iron Maiden in the middle of the day.
No.
You know, Iron Maiden got fucked over again by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So underrated. Their videos were always awesome. Let's play an Iron Maiden song right now.
All right. Wasted Years. That's on your playlist.
Yeah, let's play some Wasted Years. Like, you know, you wait all week to see Maiden or Dio or some old Kiss video.
Yeah, we
or
used
some-
to like set our video. We used to set our VCR, the tape
tape
Headbangers
it.
Ball because we were so young when we last stay up. So we'd watch it like the next day, like Sunday morning, like and watch like Headbangers Ball. But you know, they got rid of Adam Curry and then they got
Ricky
Ricky Rackman.
Rackman.
You know how Ricky Rackman got that job?
Yeah.
Axl Rose got him that job
Really?
because he hated the show so much because everybody would like run home and watch Headbangers Ball. And Ricky Rackman, he had what was his name? It was called the Cat House or something like that. And, he was saying to Axl, he's like, man, I would love to host this show. He's
Yeah.
like, all right, I'll make a phone call. And next thing you know, boom. He has the
Yeah,
job.
Ricky Rackman is a lucky dude.
What was funny, I was watching a documentary on MTV. Adam Curry, like, started yelling at him at this reunion
reunion?
of like VJs. And Adam Curry's like, I lost my job because of
Yeah.
you, because you knew like
Yeah.
Axl Rose and all that.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you're hot 1 minute on MTV, and as you know it, you're not the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of the first things I've ever seen was on Headbangers Ball, like Tool.
yeah.
Nirvana was the first I remember seeing on Headbangers Ball. You'd see Slayer on Headbangers Ball.
That's the only time you see Slayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Megadeth.
Megadeth.
Definitely.
Anthrax.
Yeah.
I remember, I think, seeing Bring the Noise. That was probably the first time I ever saw the video for that. Was on Headbangers Ball.
You would never see the song I'm the Man. You would never see it during the day on
Yeah.
MTV,
Yeah.
but they would play it on
Yeah.
MTV
The,
Headbangers Ball.
the video for One by Metallica. You
Yeah.
can see that late.
They would play these videos during the afternoon though. Like one,
It was
they
pretty
played
rare, though.
It was
Yeah.
rare. Like it was like, yeah, not like,
I remember one being very successful, like on the countdown. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Probably
yeah.
One.
Yeah. The
I
song
remember
One.
being,
Yeah.
I remember being mainstream.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's another video too that's kind of like an artsy thing. It's pulled out from that movie, Something Get Your Gun. It's like the video is based
Johnny
on
Get Your Gun. or
Johnny
Something
Get Your Gun. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here you have a band who went like kicking and screaming to go to make a video. I think their first year was the first year MTV started, and they're like, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. And then they made the one video and it was so successful. Like it was really played. It was on heavy rotation.
Yeah.
And then they just didn't stop making videos.
I like not to jump ahead too far forward, but then like, you know, the Black Album comes out in 1992. Metallica was the biggest band played on MTV, meaning more like their videos were played
Video
more
plays.
than any other band on MTV in 1992.
Yeah, they just started churning the stuff out.
Yeah. They realized like, oh wow, we're really like turning the page here. We're really like moving, like getting more fans.
People wanted the rock. They
Yeah.
had enough of like Culture Club.
Yeah. And I think Metallica has a lot to do with making heavier music more mainstream.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, like when they came out like Enter Sandman, that was humongous.
Yeah.
You know?
MTV was good about having like AC/DC on, Shook Me All
Yeah.
Night Long.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were good about giving little hits out here and there. But for a complete scene, like you would never ever see a Judas Priest video in the middle of the day after Madonna.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's fair. That's
So
a good point.
Headbangers Ball was awesome.
Ricky Rackman got a really hard time on that show by everybody that was on that show. People just like,
Yeah,
just
because they
ripped him
know
an asshole.
because they know he was just the right place at the right time. Hey Ricky, I love you, dude. I mean,
no, he's great.
Like, did you listen to or watch 120 Minutes a lot?
I watch 120 minutes on
Yeah.
Sunday nights.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
At the time, it wasn't really my thing. Like, it was a little too, like,
Artsy.
too much REM on there, dude. Like, you know, too much, like, you know,
Yeah, so
Bjork, you know.
Yeah, there was some of that stuff was a little too much.
I think The Simpsons came on and then Married Children came on, and so I wasn't, like, really.
Yeah.
If people don't remember 120 minutes, that would be what they would play. Depeche Mode. They'd play The Cure.
Sonic Youth, some of that 90s stuff. Like, you could catch like the Pixies on there once in a while.
I picked a real freaky Cure song on there.
You did.
I think this puts 120 minutes right up there,
All right, let's,
like in your head.
Why Can't I Be You by The Cure off the album Galore.
You know, 120 minutes was a great show on Sunday nights. Like you said, maybe we missed it because Married with Children was on. But if you wanted to see the breaking edge of a great culture, that's what you would
alternative
watch.
music.
Alternative music in its best.
Now, what was his name? Matt Pinfield that
Yeah.
hosted that show?
He's
Nah.
still on.
Is he?
He's still on Sirius.
Yeah,
a
he-
couple of
yeah.
these DJs have gig. Like he's on the 90s.
Yeah,
the
I know,
90s
like,
station.
Julie Brown, she's on, like, the 90s. What was,
I thought Matt Pinfield was a guy for MTV. I mean, from Headbangers Ball.
No, he was like bald.
Yeah, he was a
right?
bald guy. He was more of like 120 minutes. But that guy apparently knows more about music than we do, which I find it completely absolutely amazing.
Bullshit.
I know. But yeah,
Nobody
he's-
knows more about
yeah,
music
no.
than we do.
He
Socialites.
Everybody says that, like what was that show? The metal show. Like those guys might know just as much as him, but that guy's like a staple. Even today, I think, he does have a Sirius. Yeah. And Kurt Loder has a show on Sirius also, which I just found that out.
Does he? He's like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, but he's a smart guy though. I'm going to check it out because I think he just talks about things that were happening. Like, I freaking name a show, but you can edit this out. But it's just like a time machine kind of show.
MTV News was a big deal.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that a little bit too. That was
Kurt Loder was our Ted Koppel.
You said that when we were setting up, and then one of you guys said that that's where you heard that Kurt Cobain died.
He broke the story.
And you're right. Like as you said that, I was like, yeah, you know what, dude? I remember that. I remember hearing that.
Is that
MTV.
the big piece, the biggest news in history of music in our
generation? Probably.
Okay.
When Kurt killed himself?
Yeah.
We were what? High school, right?
Yeah.
We were in high school and they would
94.
They had captivated, everybody had that album.
Yeah.
And that was an album that just like changed everything.
Changed everything overnight.
Right. Like the whole scene.
It made even like the heaviest headbang music look stupid.
And then he was gone. It was a very short, a few years, but then he died.
He made a lot of music in a couple years.
Yeah, he did.
And that's the thing, like when they passed away, like they just kept on showing the Unplugged because I guess he died like sometime in the spring and they did like the Unplugged in the fall. And it was like in heavy rotation and they only had so many videos at that time. So they were just showing which is a whole different show by itself that we should do, like an Unplugged episode.
Yeah.
Which is like Nirvana's greatest album.
That's hands the best they ever did.
Their greatest performance. They actually showed how talented they are.
That might have been one of the best performances of the 90s.
And then, I mean, even that video for Smells Like Teen Spirit, another song that you hear it and you just think of it. It's got that washed out kind of tone to it, and they're in the gym and he's singing, and another song that I hear and I immediately think of the video.
You know what Tom Petty, I was watching an MTV documentary yesterday, and Tom Petty said when Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, it was just as important when the Beatles came out. Like it had that much change in music culture and like pop culture.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Tom Petty was just happy that he was still relevant. They're not killing my music.
Yeah.
I'm still cool. I'm still cool.
Man. I mean, MTV News. I mean, when that was out, there's no internet. There's no TMZ.
No.
There's no 24-hour news channel. So that was really where you went to find out what was going. It was either that or you're reading like Rolling Stone or Kerrang or Spin or something else to find out what was going on.
They would have an update every hour on MTV. Tabitha Soren came a few years after
Kurt Loder.
I'd forgotten about her.
Yeah, she was awesome too.
She was real smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still prefer Kurt Loder because he's like Ted Koppel.
Yeah.
So I think they totally did so much for the Choose or Lose campaign.
And those two faces.
They got Bill Clinton in the presidency.
Absolutely.
And they also took music, unless I'm misremembering this, that they took music kind of seriously too. It wasn't like, so and so is hooking up with this person.
No,
it wasn't like gossipy kind of stuff.
No, it was like who's making an album with somebody, or who broke out of this band, or who's collaborating.
Well, Kurt Loder, he started a circus magazine, and then he went to Rolling Stone, and then he was a big deal at Rolling
Stone.
So
he was a journalist that decided to take on this job.
Dude, he was like living in New Jersey. He was married. Him and his buddy would like drive to New York, go to CBGB's, and like in the middle, like see these bands. They were at CBGB's. And Kurt Loder's been in the business a long time, and whenever he said something, you kind of like took it serious. Like he was the voice of who we were going to listen to.
He had that deep voice too.
Yeah.
Right? Like I haven't heard anything from him in years, but I think I can kind of remember him.
Yeah.
He was on that Tina Turner documentary on HBO, and he still has that voice, and it was like they should just slap him up on like TV again.
Yeah.
He'd be great.
Like I said, he has that serious show, but I gotta check it out. I haven't heard it. But he's iconic. He's just he was so important to MTV. He was, in my opinion, he was the face of MTV. Even though he had all these like DJs and all these other personalities, he was the face of MTV.
But look at all the things they talked about: AIDS, rape, voting, abuse, drug problems, liquor problems, runaways. Like they touched on everything
Yeah.
on MTV.
And that's why they, and luckily they realized their importance to what, kids needed to know about. Like, one thing that I found this week, like when Magic Johnson said that he got HIV, he did an MTV special and it was all kids in the audience and everything like that. And he was explaining, like, listen, I'm going to beat this, or like, this is what happened. Get out this. Like, I can't like explain to kids, like, you're not going to get it being around by touching me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's, it was heavy, man. It was heavy shit to watch.
Also, another like really important cultural moment in that era, right? Of Magic Johnson getting sick, and that he just addressed it through MTV.
Yeah. Do you remember that when it happened?
I remember when it happened. I don't remember him being on MTV.
Yeah.
But I remember being in high
announcing
school
it,
and then
yeah.
talking about it.
I remember them just having a big AIDS campaign to begin with. Besides, I don't really remember Magic Johnson, but I remember the whole campaign for AIDS on MTV. There was certain artwork that was, that cause, that was a New York kind of art scene. And
I feel like after Freddie Mercury died, that became like a big,
That
the
was a
awareness
big thing.
around it.
But then when Magic Johnson got it, that was like,
Yeah.
anybody could get it. He's like, if I can get it, anybody
Right.
can get it. you
Right.
know? Do you remember the Weekend Rock? That was like another.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like another show. Like it was kind of like, I guess it came on like Saturdays, and like everything leading up to that week that happened, they would like revisit
all the little clips, they would all put it in one
Yeah.
show.
It became like 60 minutes.
Yeah.
For kids.
Yeah. It's where I got all my news, was MTV Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where you figured out what was going on. Some of the other music shows, like Club MTV, I always thought that was a weird show, man. You watch it?
Being a
Club
teenager?
I liked it too.
Do you remember? It was Club MTV, and then there was The Grind.
Maybe I'm thinking of
The
the
grind was like soft porn.
That's the one where they were in the club just dancing with each other,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, that's what I was
The
thinking
Club
of.
MTV, they had Downtown Julie Brown, wubba wubba wubba. But she was definitely the face of dancing on MTV.
Sure. Yeah.
She was hot. They basically took like American Bandstand and they gave it like an umph up. Instead of having bands playing on there, we're just going to have these professional dancers dance and show you the moves. So you're out in the middle of Missouri.
Sure.
And you're seeing like the latest New York dance.
It's a very important show to me growing up. Very important show.
And we had, I guess in the list, like for music shows, we had two other ones that kind of straddled, and that was Liquid TV and Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Liquid TV was awesome. That was before Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
They actually had the original episode of Beavis and Butthead on Liquid TV.
Was Eon Flux
It
that
was.
came out of
Yeah,
that before
it
it
was.
became its own show? All right.
Yeah. They had a lot of great little,
Ren and Stimpy came off that too, didn't they?
Did they? Were they?
They might
that kind
have.
of animation.
Yeah, that kind of
Totally.
animation, came from
Totally.
Liquid TV. Liquid, it was a little bit over my head, I gotta be honest, when I was younger.
I
You know?
love Liquid TV, especially Neon Flux.
I didn't do drugs
I
back
watched
then,
that
so
too.
I didn't take drugs either,
Yeah,
but I thought she was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, there were so many, MTV made so much animated things. From Beavis and Butthead was such a cultural, iconic thing. Like, what was bigger than frog baseball?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fire. The cornholio. Like people still know that.
Like that made Bart Simpson look like wholesome.
Yeah.
Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because Bart Simpson was a public enemy number one.
Until they
Before
came
people
along.
They were like, the Simpsons were like, great. Somebody else.
Man.
When we were all in lockdown last year, me and a couple of my friends were doing Zoom like power hours, and we would do a
Nice.
different a topic for an hour. You play a clip for a minute, and then after the end of a clip, you have a beer or whatever. But we did one of Beavis and Butthead making fun of videos. We played like 50 clips of them, and it was so goddamn funny,
Yeah.
man. Some of the stuff that I have to find the file and share with you guys.
It's like Time Life put out all the Beavis and Butthead on.
Time Life did?
Yeah. Time Life put out
Did it
all.
have the music videos in it?
No, that's
Yeah.
the thing. It didn't have any of the music videos on it. It was just all the cartoon parts, which was okay, but the videos is what made it so funny.
Oh my God. Like him making fun of like Rico Suave and some of the others. It's so
There's
funny.
so
Or
many.
Color Me Bad.
Was it like culture? Like culture club? He's like, I'm a man. He's like, you're a what?
Yeah, yeah. And some of the stuff was just like, it was pretty witty. Like, some of it's just like incredibly stupid, but some of it was just really funny. But they were also, man, like, they were like, I know who White Zombie is because of them,
they were
or the
big-
Rollins band. Like,
Yeah.
they were playing the video for Liar a lot.
Yeah, they were.
And a couple, Self-Esteem off their first, their Into Silence. Yeah, man, they also introduced you to a lot of this music.
And then they would tell you what's crap.
Right.
To like, turn this off.
Yeah, like the Cher song would come on or something. And you're like,
Well, they recorded a
and
song. They recorded a song with
Big
Cher.
Cher.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
They did, I Got You, Babe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got you, babe.
Dude, they
Dial.
were huge. Beavis and Butthead. The t-shirts.
Oh, it was everywhere.
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 They were on
like-
MTV every night.
They were on like the Video Music Awards one time,
Yeah.
like presenting or something. They were huge.
Yeah.
I remember like during the summer, we'd go out, we hit Tower Records up in Cherry Hill and stay there till like 10:30 and then come all the way home for 11 o'clock for Beavis and Butthead. What a great time that was.
But
Yeah.
like Beavis and Butthead, they came out with a movie like Beavis and Butthead Do America, and that was a huge that movie did really really well. And what I found out is that was the last movie that was hand drawn, like animation movie. That was the last movie without computer, like when computers before computers
Yeah.
started taking over all the animation.
Wow.
That was the last movie made 100% by hand.
Did you guys watch when it came back a couple years ago? Did you guys
No.
try?
I don't have cable,
Yeah.
so
I tried, and
No,
it
I
was
didn't.
kind of like the ship has sailed. Like, I mean, instead of watching music videos, they were making fun of like clips of reality TV.
No,
it
just
is
bring back
just-
the old show. Bring the
Yeah,
old show
just-
back.
just-
Show reruns of that.
Yeah,
Call it a day.
yeah.
That shit, it never gets old.
Yeah, the ship had sailed, and the MTV, I guess, in the last couple of years, they've tried a couple times to like
Yeah, they
revive things.
They
and
jumped the shark.
Yeah, and they consistently missed a boat with it.
My pregnant teen that had a 3-way. With a bun in the oven and
I mean, I got a list of a couple like iconic, really cool music videos. Maybe I can just run through those,
Yeah.
and then maybe we take the break. We come back. We'll talk about some of the other crap, the other shows. That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
cool. So,
yeah.
all right. All right. So let me start. I got a couple videos that I was trying to think how does YouTube stack up now? So I took 1, 2, 3, 4. I took 5 videos that I thought were heavily in the rotation of MTV. They're like great videos. And then I went and looked up how many times have they been watched on YouTube? Because I was like, do these things still matter? So I'll walk through these one at a time. Sabotage by the Beastie Boys.
huge.
Awesome
Good
video.
and who did the video?
Spike Lee.
Spike
Lee.
No, that's
No, not
Spike Jones.
Spike Jones.
Spike
Right.
Jones.
Spike Lee was the, right.
And
Do the
Spike
right
Jo-
thing.
Yeah.
And Spike Jones made a lot of videos. He like did Moby, like a lot of, he did Beck. He did like a whole bunch of videos. He was a very iconic director.
So that,
He makes some awesome movies too.
No, he does. Yeah.
So that video's been seen 90 million times on YouTube. I'm like, okay, people are still paying attention. I think that number should be way higher.
It's like guys like us watching it.
That's an
you know?
awesome video.
Yeah.
This one I was a little disappointed, but this has only been seen 46 million times in Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
You think that would be like one of the most viewed of all time?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Right.
probably-
That's another fan. Like, he was another guy that, man, he put out a couple videos that were just like,
Yeah.
digging in the dirt was really cool.
Big time.
Yeah.
But that like
Slash the monkey.
Yes.
would Peter Gabriel would have had that second career without MTV, I would probably
The songs
say no.
were great though.
The
They
song-
were, but the videos are what.
Yeah.
It was what
he
made it.
played.
Yeah.
He used MTV.
Yeah.
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 But I don't think he would have like really.
They were groundbreaking videos
Yeah.
for time.
Yeah.
I'll play a little bit of Sledgehammer. You got that on the playlist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
do it up.
The
I love
song
Peter
was
Gabriel.
the song was secondary to the video.
It really was.
You know? It's
I
a
great
love Peter
song.
Gabriel
Yeah.
and it's his kind of quirkiness, and I think his videos really put that into everything.
It just shows you his quirkiness. He does something like that, and then he does Your Eyes or
Yeah.
Red Rain.
Yeah.
You know, he's his songs are all
really,
different.
really talented guy. Thriller. So I looked that up. That's been seen 757 million times.
Wow.
So now you're getting into like huge. Vogue by Madonna.
Huge song.
Huge song.
Huge
for, there was
video.
for a while, man. Like when that came out, I remember like MTV like once a year would have like list of the best videos of all time. For a while, that was above Thriller as being the greatest video
can
ever.
see it.
I can see that.
It was just,
I can definitely see that.
huge.
But that's a song without, like, you can't listen to that song without having a visual of your head.
Yeah, the black and white video.
It was groundbreaking.
And then the last one that I looked up that I put the numbers to was November Rain by Guns N' Roses. And this just blew my mind. So the video on their official channel has been viewed 1.6 billion times. It's just like, it's again, great video. I see it when Guns N' Roses in general put out a lot of really cool videos, right? They had like that,
These epic,
the trilogy of like the three of these that
The
were
Strange, November Rain, and Don't Cry.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then there were two other files of the same video. One had 14 million views and one had 5 million views. So really, really big. So those are the only ones I looked at. So I was like, all right, so people are still watching music videos.
I never got to watch November Rain ever again. Like I can hear the song and picture the whole video in my
the
head.
10-minute, like the drone footage, and it's before drone of Slash in front of the
Slash
church.
saying,
Yeah.
throws guitar over the edge.
Girl.
Like,
jumping
I
through the
never need
cake.
to hear that song ever again.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it. But that's the same thing as Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Do you ever need to hear that song ever again?
No.
I like that. I like that song in summertime, but I know
but you've seen
talked
that video.
before.
That's a video that was played so many times on MTV.
I didn't put that video on my list.
But I'm sure it's up there.
I got a couple other ones that ones we didn't talk about. Robert Palmer.
That was a huge thing.
Like he had a couple
Simply
videos.
Irresistible?
Yeah, or Addicted to Love. He had a couple videos with the girls all wearing the same outfits.
It's such a good idea. He did the same video twice.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, that was a huge thing. It was like the Pepsi commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made a lot of money.
All those CoverGirl commercials. They all were the makeup they did in the videos. And
Again, like, would he have been popular if it wasn't for that shtick? Probably not.
that song is killer though.
It is. He has some cool stuff.
Yeah.
He died recently.
Did he really?
It might have been 5 years ago at this point, but
I think he's the original nerd rock.
You think so?
Yeah, he
before
was like a
Devo?
nerd.
Even before
he was like a nerd with the tie on and
Yeah.
What
What about Rick Ashley? Like, would you consider him in the same category?
He became, why not?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about him. Yeah, and he kind of became like a joke.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
dude,
with the
people
internet.
love him though.
Yeah.
People love him.
No, but Simply Irresistible and the other song, cultural iconish.
Addicted to Love.
A huge iconish thing
Yeah.
in pop history.
Yep. Freedom by George Michael was another
song.
huge video, right? When he
Great song.
blows up the guitar, the jukebox from Faith, and he burns his jacket. And
In the
That's super
video,
cool.
he's not even in the video
right,
at
it's
all.
all like
Yeah.
Cindy Crawford
Yeah, it's a
and
great
some
video.
other
All
models.
these top supermodels.
Dude, and I love that song by itself.
It's
Rather
a
because of
good
the video.
song.
The song's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's a good song. No Rain by Blind Melon.
Nah.
But the video, but
Yeah.
when they hear that song, you
Yeah.
think of that the Bumblebee Girl and all that other kind of
Makes
stuff.
me want to change the channel.
Yeah, I said this before. Blind Melon is my favorite band out of the 90s. Listen to Soup. Listen to Galaxy.
But this fucking
The
song,
it's the worst song I ever heard in my life. And this is my favorite band from the 90s.
Okay.
One of them, anyway. You know.
Virtual Insanity by Jamiroquai. The dude on the
That's a great song.
the treadmills. Yeah, that was just really cool. The big stupid fuzzy hat that he had, and he's doing the funny
he had a
dancing.
gimmick. He had a nice gimmick
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, he had the hat.
His album's unreal though. He has this
Yeah,
like
that's a great
Stevie
album.
Wonder thing
Yeah.
going for him.
It was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, he kind of washed out. Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper.
Huge.
Again, the video with Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Huge video.
She had a bunch of huge videos. And
Yeah.
like here was like this artsy, cartoonish character. She was the complete opposite of what Madonna was.
That's very well said.
You
That's
know,
great.
like the
Yeah.
complete opposite. It's like the Madonnas were for the plain girls. And for the creative girls, there was Cyndi Lauper.
I agree with that.
That's a really good point. That's
And-
a cool analogy.
And she fit that beginning of MTV so well.
Oh,
You
she
know
was
what I mean?
so unusual.
Like, yeah.
Because she was like, she wasn't punk, but she was like,
No, but she
that
had those roots,
punk,
though.
artsy
She definitely had
kind
those.
of kind of
her
stuff.
clothes were totally, totally different
the
than
hair.
anything going on. She had, she had the hits. She had the songs. Her voice is unbelievable.
She had a ton of hits.
Even though like it's not her song, like Money Changes Everything. Watch that video. She kills it. Like
Yeah.
she's in a trash can, like
Flying over.
flying over before John Bon Jovi ever did it. You know,
Yeah. Cyndi Lauper.
yeah, awesome.
What was the song?
That masturbation song,
Yeah.
She Bop.
She
Bop, yeah.
Yeah. Or the Goonie song. I've seen her a bunch of times in concert.
I've never seen her.
More than I should brag
Like
about.
recent, like within the last like 10 years.
In the last 20 years.
Because she's
She did
a girl-
she did,
An ex-girlfriend of mine's loved her.
Okay.
And I've seen her about like fucking 5 times.
she's been on Howard Stern a couple times in the last like 10 years, and she's older, and she was playing a lot more like really stripped down versions of stuff, and it was really cool. I was
Yeah.
really digging it.
No,
She
I mean,
did it- she
Time
did-
After Time's a great fucking song. True Colors is a great song. She's like made these anthem songs.
Yeah.
Like the True Colors is a huge song for gay rights.
She did a dual
Yeah.
tour with Cher. Like, I mean, she had just as much time as Cher did. Like, she's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
I would love to see her.
I've seen her too many times.
I would love to. I'm sure it's nothing like, you know, like it was back in the day. I'm sure it's a little boring now, but like,
She was good.
ZZ Top, just pick it. Like, I put Legs on here, but
Yeah.
almost any
That was
video.
huge.
They were another
Yeah.
band that just became huge at MTV, man.
Yeah.
With the car and the beards and the looks and the girls and the
Yeah.
spinning guitars, they totally embraced it.
like that first Video Music Awards, it was all focused around that that ZZ Top video.
With that car.
That car and you know,
the
all that.
Eliminator car.
Yeah.
Tom Petty, we talked about the Don't Come Around Here No More video, man. The Alice in Wonderland.
Huge.
Really cool. This song sucks, but Opposite Attract by Paula Abdul. Or
Come
you
on.
mentioned her before, man. She did like a lot of choreography.
Yeah.
That stupid cartoon cat.
MC Scat Cat.
Yeah, MC Scat Cat.
That dude that's like, I think she played here a couple years ago and she still does that bit.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
I would. It's a nice gimmick.
Yeah. That's her gimmick though.
MC Scat Cat follows her all around.
He's got nothing else to do. Crying by Aerosmith or any of those
That was
Yeah,
huge.
those
they were-
videos with his daughter.
Yeah.
In it.
His
There was,
videos
like-
with his daughter.
There was a bunch of them that
Yeah.
you know,
Crying,
amazing. Yeah, they got really into. I don't like that era of Aerosmith. I think they got incredibly soft, but the videos,
they
the videos got incredibly soft porn, and
Yeah.
their music got incredibly soft.
But dude, they were big albums.
They were
like
huge
Get a Grip
videos.
and Pump. And here's another band that came back, you know, dusted themselves off and after
So
the
many
Run
times.
with the Run DMC, exactly. Like after the Run like did the thing with Run DMC, and then they just like exploded.
Reinvented themselves
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah,
They were Stevens Howard was made for MTV.
absolutely.
Yeah. I got 4 more on here, and if there's any guys that you guys can think of, Buddy Holly by Weezer.
Huge.
You know,
Huge.
I'm not a
Happy
fan
Days.
of the song, but the
Happy
video
Days.
is a great video.
Yeah.
My Name Is by Eminem. The video is pretty, it's funny, it's quirky, and it's also, it's one of the newer songs and the song's probably 15 years old now, but it's still newer in the line of all of these. And he's always kind of embraced the video.
Yeah.
And he makes kind of funny.
Yeah. And we'll talk about him when we get to the band videos and everything like that.
Okay.
But like, here's another guy that I would never ever been exposed to without MTV. You know, I love Eminem.
It's their fault.
Yeah, I think he's great. I think like in not so much anymore. He's kind of like a little has-been-y, but I hope we don't come after me. But I really enjoyed his career, to be honest with you.
I got 2 more. The Jeremy video, the Pearl Jam. You know,
Yeah.
just kind of, again, just something I just remember.
That was huge.
And, Closer by 9 Inch Nails was just
That was a-
another.
Is that
Oh,
the video
yeah.
when they had like the scene missing because of like graphic? You know?
Yeah.
And he's like spinning in the air.
Yeah, and
what
there's
a
like
freaky video.
Yeah,
that
I never
was.
understood how that song was ever on the radio, the video. It just like,
It just shows you the imagination does more than the word does.
and also that how they, just some record label was like the song that with fuck in the chorus, and they're like, oh, we're going to put this out.
But then even, you know, like I said, even with it out, they censor it. It's even more cooler.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's dangerous.
Yeah.
You know,
Here's a funny 9 Inch Nails story. So they were filming a video out in Chicago. So they had like before drones all they had this camera on a balloon, like this big weather balloon type thing. So the thing got little like blew away and went off. And so they found it out in like Illinois somewhere. So it went down some guy's farm and here's this camera. So there's footage in it. So they showed like some guy laying on the ground wrapped in Christmas lights, 2 skinheads on top of him, beating him to death and this and that, blah. So this guy turned the camera into to the cops. So the feds are coming down, like they're looking like to find out what this is, and it's a fucking Nine Inch Nails video, and he just won an Oscar. He just won an Oscar.
Did he?
Yeah, for that Soul movie. He wrote the music for that Soul movie. He's a very talented guy.
Yeah, I like him, and I think Closer is not even the best song on that album, but you know, it's cool. So do you want to take a break, or do you want to talk about the band stuff, the band videos, or do you want to do that when we come back?
Come back.
Okay. All right. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
All right.
This episode of The Prisoners of Rock and Roll is brought to you by McCusker's Tavern, located at 17th and Shunk Streets in South Philadelphia. McCusker's Tavern has been in business for more than 50 years, making it the oldest bar west of Broad Street and a city known for its neighborhood watering holes. Minutes from the sports stadium, McCusker's is a great place to stop in for a few beers before or after a game or a concert. There's a reason why everyone from Philadelphia Magazine to Playboy have ranked it as one of the best dive bars in the city. Music is such an important part of McCusker's Tavern that we're actually recording this episode from there right now. They're currently closed due to the pandemic, but miss everyone and hope to see them soon. In the meantime, check them out on Facebook. That's McCusker's Tavern. All right, we're back from the commercial break. Thanks so much for hanging in. Maybe before we jump back in and continue, as we were on a commercial break, I was poking around and found the video, the clip of Kurt Loder going onto MTV News announcing that Kurt Cobain had died from April 8th, 1994. Excuse me. It's only 25 seconds left. Let's just play it. Maybe kind of, if you're out there, you listen to us, maybe you weren't even old enough to remember when this happened.
Hi, I'm Kurt Loder with an MTV News special report on a very sad day. Kurt Cobain, the leader of one of rock's most gifted and promising bands, Nirvana, is dead, and this is the story as we know it so far. Cobain's body was found in a house in Seattle on Friday morning. He was dead of an apparently self-inflicted shotgun blast to the head. Police found what is said to be a suicide note at the scene, but have not yet divulged its contents. Cobain, who was 27, had reportedly been missing for about 6 days, according to his mother.
That was huge when he died.
Yeah. And even that clip, Kurt Loder's reading it off a piece of paper. So it's like, it's that instantaneous. Probably handed to him was like, you're reading this.
It was a huge thing. Like, it was almost like when baby Jessica fell down the well. It was like international news. It was for a guy that plays guitar.
I can't think, like, the only thing I could compare it to, like, in our youth is the Challenger exploding.
Yeah.
That level of, I can't think of another rock and roll star, like
not such a tragically way. Of him blowing his fucking
and it meant
brains
that
out.
much to like our generation. So.
Yeah, they hit people like a ton of bricks.
It did. I remember people in school like crying, over it. Yeah. Getting really upset.
I remember, later that week, it was on like 60 Minutes, and, the Rooney guy who did like the old crabby guy.
Andy Rooney,
he did a piece about it, and he really gave our generation like a real like F you. He's like, oh, so I'm not going to cry for you in your generation and this and that. It was really bad.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it was really
old
bad.
Crank.
It was bad. It made me look like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Toward like main media and like how sympathetic,
They exploited the shit out of Kurt Cobain when he died.
Yeah.
They were doing all newses on the copycats that were like killing themselves over, they were exploiting that shit.
Yeah. It was such a shame. When Kurt Loder, he got that call in the morning and like he ran down to the studio and everything like that. And he's driving and he was just like, he only met him one time. And he seemed like, he said he was like a very gentle guy and very quiet but he wasn't really surprised by this because I don't
think anybody was.
No, I know, I remember when it happened and you were not surprised.
I was like, oh well.
And,
I was like,
oh well. And like a few weeks prior to that, he almost died in Italy, OD'd,
Yeah.
But it's crazy. It sold more albums.
It did. It turned into Hendrix.
He became Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
So that's that. I guess maybe the next thing we're going to talk about is we talked about some of the great videos, but there's also a bunch of videos that MTV wouldn't play, right? And there's some stuff that they would only show at certain hours, late at night after 9:00. And then there's some stuff that they just flat out refuse to play. And I think, Doug, you found the first video that they ever banned, and this really surprised me.
Yeah, it was Body Language by Queen.
Yeah.
And like, did you guys watch the video for this?
I did.
This would just be like any other video, like through the 90s.
A lot of bikinis, like kind of racy. That's not my favorite era of Queen.
But it was
that
like,
album.
It was Freddie, like on like both sides. Like, he was like kind of maybe coming out of his closet for say, And I think it was just like too much for for the MTV at that time. For a band like Queen, the first video to be banned by them was actually really surprising to me.
And Madonna's had a whole bunch of songs banned. I watched a couple of the videos and I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah,
I watched
like the
one,
Justify My Love. That was like that was the big band.
and that was like a porno. I mean, that was like
it totally was like a Skinamax.
she had that the book was out at the same
Sex
time.
book.
Yeah, so it was like she was. She's another one. I think she just tries too hard sometimes.
Well, that's her gimmick.
I don't like her.
That's her gimmick. Let me try to shock you.
Yeah, sex is her gimmick.
Yeah.
But that was a big deal. That video was like a big deal. Like they showed it like on primetime TV. All right, we're going to show it one time just because we're the news and we're going to talk about this. And like,
But look how they wouldn't play the Cher video.
Because her ass is out.
Because her ass, right? Yeah. I wrote like she had a video, American Life, that I guess was her in like she's kind of in a military uniform and she's in front of all these American flags.
Remember it.
And at the end, she throws like a grenade at George Bush. And I watched about half of it in my notes. It just says, this song sucks.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the problem with her. Her fucking music sucks.
Yeah. She's a brilliant business person, but I just don't like her.
Well, that was like, just like a prayer. Like a prayer. What was that video called?
Yeah.
Or that song?
Yeah, like a prayer.
Like a prayer.
Yeah.
So Pepsi, she had a Pepsi commercial, like before that video come out. So this was a sneak peek of this video. So then the video premiered. She's burning crosses. She has a black Jesus and this and that. That Pepsi commercial was gone.
I can never pay attention. Is she still speaking with her full of shit British accent now?
Yeah.
Or is
she's
she
a clown.
She's the
original clown.
She's so fucking.
She'd stop being a fucking weirdo and just go out and play the hits.
Well,
go out and be the material girl. People will fucking line the fuck up.
I saw her one time out down the convention hall in AC, Atlantic City, and she does 2 tours. One tour she'll do like the greatest hits, and then the other tour is a dance tour. I saw the dance tour. I'm like, when is this going to
like
start?
that Ray of Light album that she put out?
I like that song though.
I do too.
That song's
but,
good.
But
Pearl Jam covered that song.
Really?
When it originally came out, they might have done it in the middle of a show.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, that was a big song. But she's a clown.
Yeah, she had a handful of videos on here and I didn't care enough to watch the other ones. Thought it was interesting. Like, there's a handful of, surprise, Megadeth albums.
In My Darkest Hour. We were just talking about that song.
That's the one I put the notes on, too.
Yeah, because it had to deal with suicide. Is that what it was?
Yeah, but the song's about Cliff Burton, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was a little weird that MTV was like, no, this is what it's about. And Megadeth was like, no, dude, it's about our best friend dying in this horrible accident.
But at that time, they're like, who's Cliff Burton? I'm like,
right, yeah.
No, it's exactly. It's exactly. I wonder if they fucking reported when Metallica got in that bus accident.
Right.
Did they make a report?
They probably didn't have MTV News back then. You know?
What year was that? 85.
Yeah, that was before MTV.
I'll look while we're talking. Yeah, there's not. I don't see anything like a clip of that. Some other. Mr. Bungle had a video for Travolta that was banned, and I'm like, I don't even know what the video had, but if I'm not surprised.
It probably couldn't even fucking take 2 seconds of it.
Mr. Bungle is a side project with Mike Patton from Faith No More, and I think Scotty Ian's in that, right?
Scotty Ian's in that.
And it is some of the most bizarre music you will ever hear in your life. Couple Primus songs were a bit. Lacquerhead was a song by Primus that was banned. I thought it was 18 in Life by Skid Row.
Really?
That song was on a lot.
I wonder if there was another video.
He said the main character
blows him away.
Oh, that's right. They did.
Yeah,
they
shoots his friend by accident.
Yeah, they did have a video. They did have.
I don't think he shot him by accident. He shot him on purpose.
Oh, okay. He shoots some of it, so that MTV kind of poo-pooed that a little bit. There was what else is on here? Jesus Christ Pose by Soundgarden took a lot of crap because there were a lot of crosses and that's a great song too. Man.
I don't remember it being on MTV at all.
Yeah, I didn't either. Some other stuff like Manson's on here, Sepultura, like all the stuff you kind of would expect to see on here. But the one song, man, the video that you guys shared this week, man, was Be Cruel to Your School by Twisted Sister.
What a great video.
That is awesome, man, with Alice Cooper and Bobcat Goldthwait.
Dude, Bobcat's great in that.
And it's kind of like a sequel to I Want to Rock. You know, it's like in the same, it's in the school
setting.
Yeah.
But then you have like Thriller going on. And then they made a zombie thing. It's just pretty graphic. There's a scene like of them like sawing some guy's like head off.
Yeah.
But it's comical. Like, you know.
Yeah, so it's a video like Bobcat Goldthwait is like a teacher in a school and he goes into like the lounge and the other teachers like, what are you listening to? And he's like, Twisted Sister. And he puts it on and then the teachers turn into Dee Snider and Alice Cooper, and all the kids are like zombies. The one kid got like his throat ripped out and he's eating like snacks through the hole in his
it's
throat.
fun, yeah.
It was over the top, but the video now opens with a quote from Dee Snider that I guess when he was before Congress, and it just says, "Our videos are simply meant to be cartoons with human actors."
Yeah.
And this was when all those congressional hearings against him, and this was like, so this video got banned, and the squares went crazy on it. It's a really cool song though. I dug
liked
it.
it. Yeah, it's a great song. Like, it's a Twisted Sister song.
And then Prison Sex by Tool got banned at some point too, and I just thought that was interesting because that was like the first video they used that had that like that stop animation that they became really famous for.
I remember the video like clearly, but I don't remember it being banned on MTV.
I don't either. Like I remember seeing it. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And then there was also some videos that they were only like Baby Got Back was only aired after a certain time because it's
well, Motley Crue, Girls, Girls, Girls. I remember Motley Crue was hosting Headbangers Ball, and they're like, "All right, we're going to show Girls, Girls, Girls." Like it's like
we could get away with it.
We can get away with it.
It's just funny.
But one thing, Neil Young, This Note's for You was banned from MTV because
I'm not singing for MTV or I'm not singing for Pepsi,
and Budweiser, and this and that, and the. Their sponsors are like, well, what is this all about? You're playing this song, and like they're saying, like, I'm not selling out for Pepsi or Budweiser or this or that.
They wouldn't play it for like a business reason, like advertising,
and they got rid of it.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, that's different than like, well, we're not going to play it because it's just offensive, or we think it's offensive, or it's Mr. Bungle. I feel like maybe we should play a little of the Mr. Bungle song.
Go for it.
Just because we've talked about them a couple times.
Dude, it's like Nightmare Before Christmas.
I was thinking the same exact thing. I was like, it's like an Ed Burton
It's like
film, man.
It's like a carnival. My favorite song on that album is "My Ass Is on Fire." It's just like,
do you think they're cracking up the whole time?
Yeah.
they have it. I mean, he's crazy talented.
Scott Ian, come on.
Yeah, really, really cool. I'm glad we just took advantage to play that. So,
but like another band video, like going back to Eminem, like what's it called? Just Lose It. Okay, so this video is Eminem making fun of Michael Jackson, like how he changed his appearance, and like it's kind of really ridiculous. So BET banned it because this is Michael Jackson, like
he's a white guy talking shit on a black guy.
Exactly. So they got rid of it, and BET called out MTV and said, if you guys don't drop this video, you're racist. And that was
Really?
And MTV had it up for one of the best rap videos ever made earlier that year. I guess for their MTV or ever. But funny, just like how they got called out and they automatically just pulled it,
I don't think MTV makes the greatest decisions.
They've proven they haven't. They have no, I don't know,
morals.
there's a song like from the 90s by a band called Wax. And the song was called California. And I remember the video was just some dude running in slow motion and he was completely engulfed in flames. And that showed up on the list of banned videos. But I'm like, when I saw the name and the song, I was like, oh, that's the song with the video of the guy on fire. So I'm
I
like,
kinda remember
I
that.
had to have seen it on MTV, but they're like, it's banned now. And I'm like, okay, well, I saw it somewhere. I don't own it. I didn't own any of their CDs. I've never looked them up on YouTube. So whatever.
Maybe it's another video of a guy on fire.
Largely, right.
Yeah,
sometimes on a Saturday night is what I look up. I don't remember the song at all. I don't know anything about the band. It's just largely forgettable, but, and it's probably the only point of relevancy they have now. It's like they're on some band list.
Do you think that they're sitting like, if we just weren't banned,
we would have
went all the way.
We would have made it.
Probably not.
I could have been a contender.
But he got banned from MTV the next day because he was like portraying Jesus Christ, and they're like, they're not going to have it, and they got rid of it.
He's Bowie, man. You got to give him some creative latitude, right?
Yeah, they let him dress up like a Nazi and let him walk around.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as he dresses up like Jesus Christ, they're like, oh, we can't
The video, like the last video he made Lazarus.
Yeah.
Was real. Like, I mean, he knows he's going to die.
Yeah.
It was just
Totally dark and
really hits
sad.
you. Yeah. Really sad, but it was a really good video. I've never seen that on MTV, but that was something I saw on YouTube, but
Yeah.
really moving video.
I never listened to that album. Is that album
Sad.
It's good.
Is it
yeah.
good?
But it is sad because he knows he's going to die.
Yeah.
Listen to it on a dreary day.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
Do, do, do.
Well, you don't want to ruin a sunshiny day. So, you have any other band videos?
Motley Crue had one. You're All I Need. That was the lyrics were so like violent. They were saying the words were too violent for the song to be on MTV. And then the videos, they were just showing clips from the news, from the news on videos. And MTV says, you can't play this. And they're like, dude, we're just showing
This
news
stuff
clips.
that's already.
Yeah.
Dude, even Bon Jovi has a banned video from MTV. A song called Living in Sin. That got banned from MTV. Do you remember that?
You know, who knows where the line is that they, I guess you either get shuffled into after 9 o'clock or they just wouldn't play your stuff at all. It's interesting.
But that's when then they started moving along with these shows. So this is like the beginning of them play after with TRL. After that, you really didn't see too many videos after TRL until it was after maybe 10 and 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. TRL was like in the 90s. And I have it in my notes, but 2008, MTV was only playing 3 hours of music a day. And I remember kind of watching TRL and getting pissed because they would only play
Limp Bizkit.
snippets of stuff too. It would be 15 seconds. The attention span was so much we couldn't even sit through a song anymore, which probably leads into today's generation that nobody has an attention span. And also TRL got trash canned in 2008. But that's also music stores are done, right? Sam Goody's out of business. Tower's gone. There's Napster. People are watching all this stuff on YouTube. They don't need TRL anymore.
Yeah. But that was a big show. If you really had an album that you were plugging or you need some exposure, you go play Times Square.
I thought I was a little bit too old when TRL came out.
Yeah.
I remember being this is I'm a little bit too old to watch TRL.
And I think maybe the beginning of that was you had the Britney Spears and NSYNC and all that that heavy pop stuff of the 90s, Backstreet Boys, Spice Girls, that kind of takes over MTV. And then TRL, I don't know, man. The only thing I really remember about it is having the same thing, man, I'm probably too old to be watching this. And there was that, Mariah Carey had that meltdown.
Yeah,
the meltdown.
She brought the hot dog cart on.
Yeah,
Whatever else she did.
how she's
Her
bad shit.
publicist comes out and
To try to get her off the stage. Yeah, yeah.
No, I think of TRL. I think of Carson Daly. His lame ass talking about Britney Spears or the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, he's the Ryan Seacrest of MTV, just this standard issue.
He's huge still. He's his own production company. Yeah. He's on TV all the time.
And the closest thing to rock and roll you get on there is Ryan's favorite band, Blink-182. That'd be the favorite, that would be the rock band. And then you have Sub 41 and that whole punk, kind of poppy punk
Avril
thing going
Lavigne
on.
And
Like you said, Limp Bizkit.
Bunch of Limp Bizkit.
Korn.
Fred Durst, I think, was on that show more than Carson Daly.
Yeah,
because he did it for the Nookie.
Yeah,
and he was in his video, and Carson Daly was in that video or one of those videos.
They started down. MTV starts a really quick downward spiral, and even by 2010, they legally changed their name from MTV was always short for music television. It's just MTV. It doesn't stand for anything anymore. The music is completely gone. Yeah, and then now it's. I mean, I even looked up the shows of MTV, and I started reading about reality television, and I found a list of reality shows on MTV, and there's 114 of them, 114 different shows.
Jesus Christ!
And I didn't know any of them other than the Osbournes.
I watched a lot of that. I watched a lot of Osbournes.
The Real World. Everything else, I was I have no friggin' idea who any of this stuff is.
No, MTV invented the reality show
with The Real World.
Yeah,
right. That was 92,
and that was a great concept at first. For the first 10 years, The Real World was awesome.
Yeah. I watched, I know the San Francisco one with that dude, that asshole Puck.
Yeah.
The guy was the skater dude. And the one guy was, he was homosexual, he was gay. And
Yeah.
it was pretty
And
ahead of its time.
Is that the season when that guy Pedro died?
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
AIDS?
yeah.
See, that was interesting. This guy, like, that's how big MTV was. Like, the guy Pedro died, and he was on,
a reality show.
a reality TV show
30 years ago.
character. And this guy died, and it was all over the news.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton got up on TV and talked about what a tragedy it was for a young man named Pedro, whatever his last name
I just
was.
remember him dying. I don't remember anybody giving a fuck.
No, dude, people gave a fuck because it was a big personality, a celebrity, you may say, dying from AIDS. Again, Magic Johnson just came out and started talking like he got it and this and that. And then here's a guy that you're watching every week on television, and you're kind of like, oh, well, he.
But that was his whole stick on the show.
no.
Like, oh, I have AIDS.
Well,
You
I
know-
think that he was on that show to give more awareness toward what was going on in this country that should have been paid more attention to, because we got zero attention through the 80s. Like, it was taboo to even talk about it. You couldn't even talk about it.
If anybody did, it was MTV talked about it.
So,
Yeah.
so maybe I wouldn't really think, I wouldn't want to admit this, but I don't think MTV really did exploit the whole thing of the guy dying. It was just something that was happening in life, and I think it was their responsibility to have, get awareness toward it,
Yeah, I didn't see. I don't remember it being.
Yeah.
I don't remember feeling it was exploitive.
Yeah.
It was also so new. Like just that the concept of reality television was so new at the time.
They had like the road rules. That was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody remembers that.
That was like the real world on the road.
Yeah, and they would do all these obstacle courses and challenges and
It was almost
cool
like
shit.
it was almost like Survivor-ish
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of before that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that. You know what show, man, we totally skipped over was Remote Control. Man, we went right through the 80s and we skipped Remote Control. That was a great.
So many great things about that show. Colin Quinn,
Colin Quinn was awesome.
Singing with Colin.
sing along with Colin.
That was great.
The Craftmatical adjustable bed.
When the chair would just go through the
That
wall
wall
when you got
backwards,
voted
yeah.
out. Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah.
They had a board game. I think we had it.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, they had a board game for that show. But Adam Sandler got to start from there.
Stud Boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great show. Another one that I really liked was Celebrity Deathmatch. I had totally forgotten about
that
that
was
until
great.
Ryan put it in the
Yeah.
list of notes. That was claymation of like celebrities would fight each other, and it was just so over the top
Hysterical.
stupid. It was great.
They put like Michael Jackson against,
Yeah.
Prince.
Yeah.
They would do like lineups like that.
They had like Marilyn Manson against like Charles Manson.
Yeah. Really funny. It was-
Nobody was left out
it
of that
was
show.
It was incredibly stupid. They went after absolutely everybody. It was really great.
And I think they actually came back with that show. Like something.
they? Something else
something
that
like
they
in the
tried to
last couple
bring?
of years ago.
Like Beavis, when they brought back Beavis and Butthead,
yeah.
and probably just didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't work. MTV Cribs was really big. Yeah, that was one of the
Cribs.
first. Like, we're going to show you your house.
Yeah.
Where the people live.
I always heard like these rappers and guys would go out and rent shit.
Just to show off
just to
on
show
Cribs?
up on Cribs. Like they go out and rent these cars. They rent these huge stereo systems. They rent houses.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised.
When I think it was like Redman, he was on an episode and he lived in a motel. Like, you know what I mean? But it was his side house. So if he ever had a party, he had it at this apartment somewhere, like in like LA somewhere, and it was just filled with porn tapes and just like, he's like, I'm not having all these people in my house. Like, this is where I come to party. And dude, there was like bongs everywhere before you show bongs on TV.
That's awesome.
It was really funny.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What else is on here? The Rock and Jock softball game.
That was
I
classic.
used to
Yeah, we
love
loved that.
that.
Yeah. You see like the guys from Poison.
And they would have like, a couple of like the Phillies would always be in it.
Yeah.
And then they would have, like ceramic animals in the outfield. If you hit the pig, it was like, he hit the pig. It would be like extra runs and they're all goofing around. That was awesome.
Yeah. It was always, that's when music was fun. Everybody's
Yeah.
so fucking serious
Yeah.
now.
That was a lot of fun, that game.
Then they had like a basketball game, Rock and Jock basketball.
yeah.
after
They
a
had
while.
like the 5-point line and it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the 10-point circle.
Yeah.
I forgot about that too.
Well, they had MTV Sports. Remember MTV?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, what was
Dan
his
Cortez.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
That was a rad show.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good show. That was like that extreme, like
Extreme sports, they would be skydiving and cliff hanging and, all that cool shit.
I'd totally forgotten about that. Singled Out with Jenny McCarthy. Man,
Oh.
I couldn't fucking.
Was that a dating show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would they have like 50 dudes on the stage and then would get whittled down? I couldn't fucking stand her. Like this, she had that over the top, like
She
zany.
always had to make this funny face
Yeah,
or
like-
some shit.
yeah.
She was hot until she fucking started
Yeah.
making goofy faces.
Yeah, she was nice to look at. It just was, she was so like campy. And I remember just getting like physically angry watching it.
But then they gave her own show, the Jen McCarthy show, and it was kind of like a skit show.
Yeah.
That was on for about 2 or 3 years. Like, yeah, but she did
about
the
that.
same thing.
Yeah. Too much. Loveline,
Loveline with Dr.
Drew,
yes.
and Adam Carolla.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a big deal. People would
That was
just,
a great show.
People would just call in with, I remember that being like pretty adult too. People
Yeah,
would
they're
call
kind of
in
asking
pretty,
you like questions.
It'd be like
yeah.
11 o'clock at night.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, hey, it, you know, I have like,
I got this canker sore on me.
yeah,
I don't know what
yeah,
to
it
do.
was like stuff you would like see a urologist
Yeah.
about, and he
Yeah.
would. I remember one
I
of
go
those
to the
episodes-
doctor right away, sir.
Right. I remember Henry Rollins was on one of those one time.
was
It was
he?
like giving love advice. It was really, I was like, man, you were like a series of dysfunctional relationships. But
I guess I feel like, you know, if you're too embarrassed to go to a doctor or go to
Let me
your
go on
parents,
TV
Yeah.
and fucking
Let me call
say
in.
it anonymously.
Yeah.
like, I don't remember the years when that was on. I feel it's got to be like
It was
the
later
end.
on.
Yeah, I never really watched
But also,
it.
they're doing this, and
I
it
remember
was
being
like,
in college when it was on.
yeah, but it was like. Maybe I'm misguided here, but it's like they cared enough. Like they gave you that avenue if you wanted to talk. You know, like they talked about like AIDS, you know, and they talked about like voting. Oh, and here's a show, man. Maybe if you don't feel comfortable going to a doctor, you can call in and ask this question. And I'm sure they're trying to sell advertising and all that other kind of shit, but
Brought to you by Trojan.
yeah. But it's like maybe there was a degree of that. And I always kind of remember watching that feeling somewhat uncomfortable to some of the stuff I was here to talk
Yeah.
about.
But I think they were just trying to, like, give information out
Yeah.
to kids who didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, that's their
Yeah,
way
maybe
of finding out. You know?
Somewhere out in the middle of nowhere, somebody has no one to talk to.
And that's true. And again, like, there's no internet, so there's
Yeah.
nowhere else. Like, you're not going to go watch a YouTube video about any of this stuff. Like, so you got nowhere else to go, really, right? Unless you're going to talk to you said you live in
humble fuck.
Arkansas, right? Raccoon Sack, Arkansas. You're going to
Or
be
you-
like, who are you going to talk to?
Or you're down by the Bible Belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They like,
Yeah,
you know,
imagine like you're this like trans person and you're in the Bible Belt
No.
and you don't know what the hell to do.
Right. Or you're just some kid that's just struggling with all your hormones and stuff. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Apparently that show meant more to society.
no, I
than-
never seen it, but it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, as we're sitting here talking about
Yeah.
it, like
I've-
the possibility, this is the reason why they had this
Yeah.
show, you know?
And then the complete opposite end is Jackass.
Oh,
that was
God.
They're making another movie.
Are they?
Yeah. And Bam's out there, like, you know, calling them all like fucking hypocrites
They're
and this and that.
that whole project went south after that dude Ryan Dunn died.
He died. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jackass got a ton of attention. I never really watched
I
it.
You never watched
cared
it?
about
it.
No, they're funny.
I remember
Yeah, I
putting
don't
the
know about-
movie on and like, oh, this is great. But do I want to watch it again? No.
Yeah.
what was his name? Hi, I'm
Steve Knoxville, Johnny
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 Knoxville,
Knoxville. Yeah.
and he got
Steve-O.
like Johnny Knoxville got a career from that show.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys did. Like,
No, they all did. They
Yeah.
all had a spin-off show.
yeah, Bam got a show.
Yeah.
You know,
He looks awful now.
he's a piece of shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
But like his uncle, like, you know, was molesting girls,
Uncle
underage
Vito, right.
girls, and
Another
like,
scumbag
yeah,
of the week.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
but he's a big crybaby now. He's like saying,
oh,
like,
my friend, they were my friends, and then they all
they
left
ditched
me.
me. Yeah, because dude, you're
You're a fucking mess.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And generally, when you abuse children, people don't want to associate
Yeah.
with you.
Did
And-
they have a rehab show on
They did
MTV? American Rehab or some
Did
shit?
they?
I don't
Celebrity
know.
Rehab?
Was that
Or was that a
MTV?
VH1 show?
Maybe. I
It
don't
might
know.
have been VH1.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
The Spring Break. So that was
Spring
the
Break.
bikini version
Holy
of
shit.
MTV, the Club MTV or the Grind.
That was the episode you had to watch of the Club MTV.
Yeah. These girls in bikinis.
I was just watching something. It was like a documentary on Yo MTV Raps, and it's like the first time Yo MTV Raps went to the Spring Break is when Biz Markie was saying,
Just a friend.
"You're just a friend." And he said, "Here we are, these black guys have never even been to the fucking beach, you know, and there's just all these white girls, like just dancing and jiggling and just like he's like, we didn't know what to do with ourselves."
Ugh.
So they're performing and all these everybody shaking their asses on them and everything.
Yeah,
like
all
that.
these teenage girls are just like, holy shit. what do you do?
That was like just a crazy week every year.
Every
Like,
year.
just debauchery.
Dude.
That just, the girls getting on stage.
It was all
and-
frat boy bullshit,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Like,
They made spring break big.
They
Like, it
did.
was big before, but they made MTV spring break.
Yeah.
And that was huge.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like that became the definition of what spring break
Yeah.
was.
It's
Yeah.
like you didn't, I didn't know it was spring break until they showed it on MTV.
Yeah.
The Osbournes, we talked about a little bit.
The hell, that was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, so it was reality TV, but it was also reality TV with a celebrity.
Celebrity
Inside-
dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
I don't think they were that dysfunctional.
No, well, I was only kidding.
I think they
Yeah.
they really had a nice family.
Well,
as fucked up as they
In a,
are.
in a
you know.
Munsterish kind of
Yeah.
way.
I don't know. Like Jack came out and said like he became an alcoholic because of that show,
They're
like
all-
drugs,
she-
and because they became celebrities, and then they're hanging out with their dad's friends who they're not supposed to be hanging out with. That their dad does drugs with, and so they come and start doing drugs.
She just had a relapse.
Did she?
Yeah.
The daughter. Did she?
Yeah.
Pimp My Ride. I
Yes.
put on here was
Yeah.
Pimp My. I never watched
They
it.
would
but-
take the hooptiest around.
Yeah.
And just pimp them up.
Yeah.
Like you have a car that's worth maybe like $1,200 and they put like $3,300 into the fucking thing.
Pimp My Ride was funny. Two shows by two people that I fucking hate and I totally forgotten about them. One was the Tom Green show, and the other one was the Andy Dick show.
They
If
were
those two,
both
you put those
fucking-
two in a barrel and put it
Yeah.
over Niagara Falls.
Dude, I don't understand how Tom Green like in the beginning it was kind of
It was funny when he'd go home with his audience and wake up their parents and shit.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
He had
Yeah.
that like
For about 10 minutes, it was
that
funny.
like
He married Drew Barrymore.
He
I
did.
know.
The fuck?
That broke my heart. I was like, oh my god.
and he only had one testicle.
Yes.
He did.
He had
And he-
cancer.
And he had an MTV special.
Yeah.
And then he put
Yeah.
it in a jar.
Yeah,
He's a fucking
He was
nitwit.
too like oh look at me, I'm so ironic and I'm so fun, and it just I hate that
it's the-
type of
No,
humor.
it's the people who gave him the money and
Yeah.
and bought into it.
Yeah.
Like, shame on them.
They can
you know?
cancel fucking Headbangers Ball, put that
Right.
Yeah,
on.
and put that mess on.
Right. And Andy Dick's another dude. Like he's gonna wind up in a dumpster with
Has
a.
he ever been relevant?
No.
I never
I like
liked him.
Andy Dick more than I like Tom Green.
Yeah, Andy Dick's one of those
He
guys.
was on
I'm-
news radio, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Dick? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe that's why he's a little bit.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Somebody's gonna find him in a trash bin with a heroin needle in his arm. And
Yeah, he's
and
a
hooker.
fucking train wreck.
Yeah, he's bad. You know what show that I had forgotten about, man, that I really liked was only out for like a season, was Snoop Dogg's skit show,
No, I've never seen it.
Doggy Fizzle Televizzle.
No, I've never
Dude,
No, I
seen
it
it.
missed that one.
It was great, man. He
Where'd you
had
find it? YouTube?
Yeah, he had a clip called he was Captain Pimp. And he would fly around it, but his hand would get really big, and that was his superpower, and he would slap people. Yeah, I'll have to show you the clip of it when we're done here. It was just really funny. Talked about Beavis and Butthead. Daria was really big
Daria
too.
was the spin-off of Beavis and
Beavis
Butthead.
and Butthead, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little too dry for me. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I remember it.
Diarrhea, cha-cha-cha. Diarrhea, cha-cha-cha.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I was like,
I
as I was
watched
going
it
through the
enough.
list, I was like, oh yeah, man, that was
No,
was
she had a
pretty
whole bunch
it was
of.
big.
She had a lot of merch.
Yeah, and then the award shows, man, like the
Yeah.
movie
Yeah, it was
awards and the
huge.
video music awards. I mean, that was like,
I mean, Eddie Murphy was hosting the Video Music Awards the first couple of years. Like, you had these huge stars doing it.
That was like, the biggest thing of the year. Like when
It
we were
was.
growing up, like every band you could think of. I think they say like 94, like 93 or 94 was like the best year ever. And that's when grunge was coming in. That's, everybody was playing the music awards.
yeah. So like, yeah, I remember that would be like that was an event. Like you
That
got
was-
your
yeah.
homework
Yeah.
done, so you could watch it, and you talked about it the next day at
Yeah.
school, like what happened.
no.
And now it's like,
And they would show the performances as videos for months and months and months at a time.
yeah,
There were some great performances by those MTV Music Awards. I remember Motley Crue having a big one. Guns N' Roses had a big one.
Guns N' Roses played with Elton John. They played November Rain
Yeah.
with Elton
Mm-hmm.
John.
yeah, I remember that.
Axl sang with Tom Petty and Heartbreakers, Free Fallin'.
Obviously Run DMC with Aerosmith.
Yeah. Madonna, like a virgin, as much as we didn't like. We talked on
so
her.
what
That
the-
was a big. That
The
was a-
guy was like underneath her dress. I think it got
And
like
they were
a ton
that
of-
was Vogue. That
Oh,
was Vogue.
No, she was rolling around in her wedding dress.
Yeah,
and they were
yeah,
putting,
yeah,
they were
yeah.
putting the camera up her dress a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's-
they did it a few like fucking 15 years later with Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, and they all kissed on stage.
Yeah, they were
everybody
making out.
lost. Everybody lost
Yeah.
their minds.
I may have watched that a couple times.
Couple
I don't know.
times.
Yeah, I may
You know
have
what's
seen
funny
that.
about that thing? They only gave a shit when she kissed Britney. They did not care about Christina Aguilera.
Right.
They're
No,
like,
because
who cares? About
Because Christina Aguilera was like
She's a
kinda like
whore.
this okay.
Britney was the girl next to her.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, Christina Aguilera went from being like she was like a Mouseketeer or something like that.
They both were.
And then she got really filthy in her, like her image. Like there was like one of her, I think her album was called Dirty, and she was in a bikini and she's giving the middle finger, and it was like kind of like she could really sing.
She's definitely the most talented one.
Yeah, she could really sing. And I was like, man,
off,
somebody got a hold of you and just trash canned your image. It's like,
But I think-
somebody steered her in that direction.
I think she was like sex sells, and Britney was like Mouseketeer sells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
she
two
kinda-
different things.
Yeah, so Britney, like, tongue in cheek was like, sexy by herself.
Oh, I did it again.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, rub me, I'm a genie in a bottle.
Yeah. Oops, I did it again. And she's in the schoolgirl outfit.
Yeah, that was a big
and,
video.
she's playing up to
That was
the
a big
pervs. And that was, I don't remember where in the timeline that
We were
making
working in
out
a
with-
record store.
we were, but I don't remember when like she makes out with Madonna and then she went like nuts. When she had that
cut
whole
all
like
her hair
she
off.
cut her hair off and she was having all
Yeah,
kinds of problems
yeah.
and stuff. And I don't know.
So I saw this one thing. Nirvana won an award. They didn't win, they weren't around long enough to win a whole bunch of video awards. So they won awards. They go to accept the speech. So they have a Michael Jackson impersonator with them. So the Michael Jackson impersonator, accepts the award with them and everything like that. So after they get off the stage, they're walking down the hallway and here comes Flavor Flav. And he's like, yo, Michael, what's going on? Like this, that, and he's like, take a picture of my kid and everything. I heard Dave Grohl tell the story. I was dying when I heard the story.
That's awesome. I think the MTV Awards is where Eminem and Triumph the Insult Comic Dog really got into it too.
Love Triumph.
I do too.
He is the greatest. What was he, a Conan O'Brien thing?
Yeah, he was really ripping into Eminem, and he called him Eminem, and Eminem got really pissed
What
and
an
tried to
asshole.
punch the
dog.
the dog or the guy that did it, and just
That makes it even more funny. It's like, oh, come on, Eminem.
which is funny because Eminem does have a degree of humor, and he lambasts everybody,
whole
but he
fucking-
can't take it.
That's the whole thing. He could fucking make fun of somebody all fucking day. He's like a little child.
Well, I hate to ruin it for you guys, but that came out maybe 10 years ago that the whole thing was scripted.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was scripted.
Okay.
But
It's still funny
He
as
played
hell.
everybody thinks he was going everywhere, and people were like, oh, you can't take a joke, you can't take a joke, and,
No,
he refused to talk about it.
Yeah, well,
And
good for him then.
It wound up being a big joke.
Okay, well then he's playing the Slim
Yeah.
Shady,
Yeah.
the Shady character.
I think he got up and left and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
all
a-
right.
that was
well,
a big
jokes on
joke.
jokes
Yeah.
on us.
Yeah.
Womp, womp, womp.
But then Eminem
What
was
are you
on.
gonna tell me? Santa's not real next?
Yeah, what the fuck?
But then Eminem gets up there and he does, my name is, and he had thousands of friggin'
the duplicates of him
duplicates.
coming out.
And he's like, oh, we're gonna buy everybody Taco Bell. Dude, nobody got anybody Taco Bell.
Okay.
So that was true. He jerked off a bunch of guys.
Okay,
That looked like him and dyed his hair like them. I think
I
they're
remember
the
that.
joke.
They
They're
all
the joke.
came
They're already a
marching in.
joke. I was in the Eminem lineup.
yeah, and the Yoka's outfit of the really long white T-shirt.
Oh, God. Thank God those days are over.
Is that it? MTV? Is there anything we didn't talk about? I'm looking over my notes.
MTV.
They did a bunch of contests they would always run.
Some of those contests were funny. Remember when John Bon Jovi's house?
Yeah.
Or when
They're always giving away houses. They're
Yeah,
going to
give
anthrax at your house. And
yeah, they had this Aerosmith contest where they give away a bunch of motorcycles and a bunch of motorcycle jackets, and they'd sell Aerosmith out and shit.
Do you want to talk about the Van Halen contest?
Oh, the Van Halen contest was unfucking believable.
Which one was that?
This was when Dave was still in the band. This is when 1984 was going on. They were the biggest band in the world. So MTV has a contest party with Van Halen. So they get this guy. He's 21 years old. They fucking party his ass off. He's backstage. He's getting laid. He's doing drugs. He's doing the whole Van Halen fucking party thing. And then later on comes out that he's like a
diabetic or something.
diabetic, and he could have went into a diabetic coma and shit like that.
Wow.
With all the fucking
He's drinking his face off and
Wow. Okay.
And like they treat him like one of him. There's a documentary about it on YouTube. I think it's like maybe like a 15-minute documentary.
And he was like, "It changed my life."
Yeah, his buddy's with him. He's like, "You shouldn't be doing this." He's like, "I'm with Van Halen."
He's like, yes. He's like, he looks like a guy from Canada. He's got like 2 beers and he's fucking downing them while a groupie is blowing them.
That's not in the documentary.
That's fantastic.
No, they said they took him into the men's room and they fucking gave him a blowjob.
The groupies are David Lee Roth.
And a monkey
Well,
was there.
Dave was a little bit on drugs, I think,
Yeah, right.
If there was a monkey involved, I'm sure Dave would be all about it.
But they said, like, you know, he said I had a great time. They flew around in their jet and this and that, and like,
Yeah, he just almost died on
Yeah.
Van Halen.
The video for Just a Gigolo by David Lee Roth was pretty good,
That
too.
was pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah.
His videos were always
Yeah.
great.
California Girls. We talked about the one with the weird with the midgets and the other stuff.
Little
Late
Enough.
Enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was a little weird,
But he had some iconic videos.
yeah.
The Skyscrapers album.
Or even like Yankee Rose.
Yeah.
Give me a bottle of anything and a glazed donut.
But we didn't talk about the king of videos, Weird Al.
Weird Al puts out some good videos as well. Yeah.
Now, he's a guy that used video as an instrument.
Sure.
Like, you know, he's a very talented guy.
Absolutely.
But his music is like kind of basic. You know, so he needs like the video to sell his gimmick.
But that's the thing. Like, it was like considered like a big compliment if Weird Al wanted to do one of your songs. You know, I think Nirvana was doing Saturday Night Live when they got the call. I think we talked about this on one of the shows. And, everybody, like, some people declined to get their videos made, but like, it's supposed to be the biggest compliment ever.
I think his original shit was the funniest. Like before he did the video,
He did Star Wars
one. No. Like another one rides the bus. Hey,
Or like,
There's the
I
public
lost,
access TV.
like he just with him as an accordion, just
Yeah.
doing like jingles.
Yeah.
That shit's funny.
Some
That's
of the-
creative. That takes, you know, creativity.
the parody for Fat
Yeah.
was
That was a
awesome, was
huge
hysterical.
video.
Like
That was
I
a
Lost on
huge
Jeopardy
video.
was funny.
Yeah.
When
I
you
Lost
first
on
met-
Jeopardy was fucking great.
I thought when you first mentioned it, I was thinking the newer stuff. I was thinking the Smells Like Teen Spirit parody or like Amish Paradise.
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, the really early
You're
stuff.
like a surgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we saw Weird Al in concert back in 1984. He opened up for the Monkees.
That's awesome. Another dude who absolutely should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and never will because they can't.
They should put him in the Hall of Fame. What he does, nobody does what he does.
He's been lambasting pop culture for 30, 40 years.
And he's
still
he's
funny.
so
Dude,
funny.
he plays like high schools and shit like that. He sells out. Like, you know, it's like,
I would
it's
love
not
to go
very
see
expensive.
him.
Yeah, he's on the bucket list.
he
really funny.
comes out in
But-
all of his gimmicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
His accordion and all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Like he'll do like 30 songs in like 5 minutes, you know, like all popular songs on the accordion. Like he's great. He had like a parody video, not so much a song video, like More Than Words. And it's a song called like, I Don't Love You Anymore. And he's like, when you burn my car down and this and that, I guess you don't love me anymore. It's like, it's a funny song.
He had that parody of,
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
the 90s was his year.
That was
They
his
were his
decade,
years.
yes.
His decade, yeah.
Yeah.
He really got after everybody. That's awesome. Yeah, he was a good one. I totally didn't have him in my notes and I should have. All right. So, going a little bit, I got a little bit of listener feedback. Here's a piece of listener feedback from me. So one of our really early episodes, we talked about how do albums actually go platinum with streaming and how does that work if nobody's buying albums. I actually looked it up.
Okay.
And I finally got back and it's been in my notes for like 3 episodes and I forgot to read it. So the RIAA does they include streaming in their formulas. If a song streams 1,500 times, that counts as 1 album sale or 10 track sales. So if an artist released 1 song and that 1 song is played 1.5 billion times, the album is considered platinum. So I don't know. Old Town Road. I don't know how many times that song's been played, like on Spotify, but if it was 1.5 billion, then that album is considered as a platinum album.
Okay. So you said if it's played 1,000 times, if one song is played 1,000 times, that equals 1 album?
Yeah. So
It's just one.
One song is played 1,500 streams. They count that as if you went in and bought
play.
1 copy of that CD or you bought 10 singles.
That kind of sounds like that bad joke from the Howard Stern movie when he's like, "Oh, Stern." Oh, it's like, "Oh, I just killed all those kids." Oh no, there's 5 kids, 10 kids. That's just one. That counts as one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess because it's easier.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's,
No,
free,
it's a
like
joke, but-
free, but
Yeah.
I get, but they do consider it. So, and I went down the rabbit hole a little bit more. So in 2010, there were 69 songs that went platinum. And in 2020, there were 525. So, cause streaming's gotten so big that people just play shit so much. So that was it. That was my insight. And then, we did get some listener feedback on the Monterey Pop Festival. So, Monterey Pop Festival was probably a better event than Woodstock, but Woodstock gets all the publicity. I can't imagine seeing all of those great bands in one place for $6. If you had to see just one set live, which one would it be? My vote is Hendrix. What say you? And this is a 2-part thing. So,
Robbie, no, I'm kidding.
get the most, get my $6 worth.
The Grateful Dead. Come
Yeah,
on.
Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah. The Who, maybe, like, you know.
I think
Maybe
Otis,
Janis.
Otis would have been mine. Janis was another
Yeah.
one too. And then, second part of this was, in your research, did you come across the Festival Express? That's where the Grateful Dead, Janis Joplin, the band, and some other artists played a bunch of shows in Canada. They traveled in a train and a giant choo-choo jam session party. Wild.
Dude, they fucking videotaped that whole thing.
Yeah, there's a
too.
documentary out there. About
Is there?
that. Yeah.
There's a doc. It is fucking.
Yeah, it's great.
What a great concept it is. But what a fucking train wreck. And I mean, it is a fucking train wreck. Like, they put the Dead on the train with Janis and shit. Dude, they're completely annihilated the whole time. They drank all the booze on the train. And they stopped in the middle of nowhere and they saw a liquor store on the side of the fucking road.
They're in like the Yukon of Canada.
Yeah, and they bought all the liquor out of the liquor store.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it is pretty cool. I mean, to check it out.
All right. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to see the, so thank you, the dude who wrote in and he actually asked for some stickers. So they're in the mail. So, and then that brings us to the electric chair. The electric chair is a segment where we sentence a song to death for being terrible. The electric chair is sponsored by our very good friends at Lunacy Brewing Company. They are located at 500 West Kings Highway in Haddon Heights, New Jersey. You can check them out on social media or at lunacybrewingcompany.com. So this week is my turn, and I am killing Fire and Rain by James Taylor.
Great choice.
I should probably see a therapist for how much I fucking hate
No, I'm
James
with you,
Taylor,
dude.
man.
Dude, I should see a therapist with the song makes me want to do.
I have like I can't stand his fucking, I can't even get a
voice-
sentence out.
He sounds like he's fucking sucking on helium and singing on top of it.
Dude, didn't he have a tour with the Eagles like a couple years ago? He opened for the Eagles.
I don't
That
know.
was probably the boringest show ever.
I was like, I hate the Eagles and I hate James Taylor. This would make me want to fucking kill myself.
He was supposed to play with like Stevie Winwood or somebody last summer that I was like, oh man, I'm going to fucking sit through this to see
no
it. But
fucking way.
he has like, I think his personal life, he has these stories of like, he was always like, his personal life, he's all these stories about like being a heroic and everything. I was like, dude, your music is just so soft. It's just like, oh, I'm James Taylor. Like you're soft, dude. You're the guy that has your bike shipped into Sturgis.
It's like, dude, you're not Nikki Sixx, dude.
Right.
Like, you think of heroin addict, you think of Nikki Sixx,
You-
being fucking
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's like fucking dentist office music.
all
It's
of
just
it,
this soft shitty. I want to punch my laptop. I'm looking at his stupid
God, this fucking song
face right
fucking
now.
sucks.
And I could have killed any one of these songs by him, but I fucking hate this song, and I hope I hit the right button.
We sentence you to death.
Yeah.
Man, I fucking hate James Taylor.
I seen fire, I seen rain.
You've seen electricity now, too, motherfucker.
Biatch.
Oh, my God.
Zap.
Ugh. And a bad taste in my mouth. So, that's it, man. So whether you've been checking us out from the beginning or you just discovered us, just thank you so much for taking some time to listen to us. We always try to educate and entertain, and we hope you have been both tonight. Now, if you like what you hear, hit the follow button on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, anywhere you're listening to podcasts. We're on all the major platforms. And if you really like what you hear, man, leave us a review. Tell your friends how awesome we are. Tonight's show was about music videos, but we did publish a playlist for the episode on Spotify and Apple Music. There's links to them on our social media pages, and maybe, we probably should share a couple of these videos on our Facebook page too, because we talked about a lot of them and there's some really cool videos. And lastly, if you want to get in touch with us, we're on Facebook and Twitter. You can check us out on prisonersofrockandroll.com, or you can email us at prisonersofrockandroll@gmail.com. We think our logo is pretty cool, and if you want some stickers, just reach out to us and we'll throw a few in the mail to you. A couple people have already been sending us pictures of them out in the wild. We gave a stack to the warden, Rob Owens, and he's already asked for more. So Rob, we'll get him to you. Thanks for spreading the good word. That's it. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. We'll circle up, figure out what we're going to talk about next.
All right. Check you later.
Keep on rocking. Peace out.
I'm just a prisoner. Of rock and roll!